That's absurd.
And a relationship goes down in flames.
You're drunk all the time anyway.
You're twice as drunk and half as attractive.
Cool.
I'm not liking the two of you, actually.
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Lauren Glenn is suing her ex-girlfriend, Brittany Kittredge, for rent and a burned couch.
Order. All rise. Yeah, this is case number 137 on the calendar, the matter of Glenn versus Kittredge.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated.
Miss Glenn, you and Miss Kittredge lived together as a couple for how long?
Yes, Your Honor, we did for about 12 months.
You don't have to lean over.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Did you move into an apartment together, or did she move into your apartment?
She moved into my apartment.
Okay, how long had you been living there?
I had been living there for about 2 years prior.
Were you living there alone or with somebody else?
I was living there alone. I actually had a roommate for probably about 5 months, but...
But you were living alone?
Yeah.
She moved in on what date?
February of 2015.
Is that right?
Yes.
And is that when you became a couple?
Sorry.
Miss Kittredge, when you moved in, what were the financial arrangements?
We were just going to split the rent, which was $1,100. So we were going to pay $550 each.
When did you move out?
I moved out mid-May, like around the 12th.
That's
May.
actually false, Your Honor.
No, listen to me. First of all, don't bend over again. Second of all, unless I'm speaking to you, don't speak.
All right, I'm very sorry.
Great. Okay, so this is what the case is about. It is Miss Glenn's claim that you owe her some rent. You had a fight, you moved out, you owe her some rent. And in addition to owing her some rent, that you burnt her sofa. She acknowledges that after you burnt her sofa, she changed the locks in the apartment and threw your stuff out.
Yeah.
And your counterclaim is for the stuff that was ruined as a result of her throwing it out.
Correct.
So that's what I have. Okay. Did you pay her May's rent?
No, I didn't pay her May's rent.
Okay. And you lived there until the 12th?
The 12th, yeah.
Tell me the circumstances surrounding you leaving.
I left because we had broken up in the beginning of May, but we had agreed that I would be able to live there until the end of May until I found a place. And then I moved out early because she was just partying, having people over all the time, and started
So it was uncomfortable.
dating someone. Yeah, in front of me. It was very
so
uncomfortable.
it was uncomfortable.
Yeah, absolutely.
So when you left anything?
I took a bag, like a duffel bag of stuff.
When did you come back for your property?
I came back about a week later.
Did you have any contact with her during that week?
No.
When you came back for your property, where was it?
It was outside the house, and the locks were changed.
She tells in her complaint that you had broken into the house at some point and burnt a couch when you went into the house. Did you do that?
No. I absolutely have no idea where she got that. You're also, like, she has people over all the time. So it could have been a number of her friends. She's also a fire dancer.
You did not. You came back a week later and your stuff was outside and the locks were changed.
Yeah.
Is that what you're telling me?
Absolutely.
Okay. Now I want you to tell me, Miss Glenn, Miss Kittredge left in mid-May.
She did. She left, like, after May 9th. I actually went out of town.
Just a second.
Okay.
How did you know, if you were out of town, that she left in mid-May?
She had a party with, like, a bunch of members of her, like, softball team, and, like, some of them...
Don't look at her. Look at me. Don't look at her.
Some of them told me about it, and actually, I have some evidence here.
Just talk to me. Talk to me. When I want
I'm sorry,
evidence...
Your Honor. I have some evidence here.
Just a second. Is what you're telling me that you heard from other people that she had a party?
Yes.
She had a party.
She did.
At the house where she was living?
She was living, but not paying rent, yes.
Well, did she pay April's rent?
She did not pay April's rent.
Did you pay April's rent?
I didn't pay April's rent.
Oh, well, when did you stop paying rent?
It was just April, and then I had every intention of paying rent, and then my stuff was all outside ruined.
No, look at me.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Your stuff wasn't outside ruined in April.
No, it wasn't.
Miss Kittredge.
I was late.
So you didn't pay rent in all of April. That's
I didn't
not
pay
late.
rent in April, but we did have an agreement that I would pay her. I said I was going to pay her in the middle of May for April's rent and May's rent.
Just a second. You didn't pay April, so you owe her April's rent.
Yes.
I'm not interested in your social life. I couldn't give a rat's behind about your social life. This is a lawsuit.
Yeah.
You owe her April's rent, and you were there until mid-May, so you owe May's rent. Now, the only other part of your lawsuit is the sofa. I'd like to see pictures of the sofa.
Sure.
I also have a countersuit for all of my stuff
Just-
that got ruined. I'm sorry.
What kind of... I'm not looking at you. Didn't you
I'm
get?
sorry, I apologize.
Your Honor, I have pictures of the sofa and also text messages kind of related to this. I'm sorry about my language.
Even do that.
You're capable of almost
It's
anything, I would
crazy.
say.
I'm not liking the two of you.
I'm
actually,
sorry.
Sorry, Your Honor.
At all.
We like
Okay.
you.
Okay. Well, clearly something's wrong with two of the cushions on the sofa.
Did we already explain that you're a fire dancer?
I'm not looking at anybody.
No one fire dances indoors. That's absurd.
You're drunk all the time anyway.
You're twice as drunk and half as attractive.
Cool.
Tell them goodbye.
Goodbye. Parties are excused. You may step out.
We're done. Come back when you can learn to behave.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
So you were paying her $785 a month.
I thought it was $550 a month, and the
And that
extra
you made a
money I thought
mistake.
was for
but
utilities.
you made a mistake.
Why would you do that twice?
$780. You're doing it again.
I'm sorry, I won't do it
You're
anymore.
doing it again.
And later today,
How much money did he give you?
200
He picked up the trailer, and in exchange for the trailer, he gave you $200.
for initial payment.
You have that in the contract?
It was all verbal.
Well, that's a problem.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
in a case recall from earlier today, Lauren Glenn says, "Ex a burned couch." Brittany is countersuing, also for property damage.
Judge, this is recall case number 137 in the matter of Glenn versus Kitteridge. Parties are reminded you're still under oath.
Are you ladies ready to comport yourselves appropriately?
Yes,
Yes,
I'm
Your Honor.
So sorry.
Good, good, great. Okay, so when we left off, you owe her $1,100 for 2 months' rent, the month of April that you didn't pay and the month of May that you didn't pay. You were there part of the month of May. Now let's talk about the burnt couch that I saw. Do you know how that happened?
I honestly have no idea.
Do you have any proof that, look at me, do you have any proof that the defendant caused whatever damage exists to the two cushions on your couch?
I have a couple of text messages where she doesn't deny doing it.
That's not enough.
Okay. Well,
I mean, I read those text messages.
Yes.
Do you have any other text
she
messages?
called me and told me that
That what?
it happened. She said that, yes, I burnt it. You deserved it.
No, I don't believe that. Okay, she owes you $1,100 for rent. Now, when did you get home from your being away?
May 13th.
So the day after she moved out?
Yes.
You came home on May 13th. Now, do you have the bill from the locksmith?
I do not have the bill from the
On
locksmith.
what date did you call the locksmith?
I called him. Okay.
You called him on the 13th.
Yes.
And tell me why you called the locksmith on the 13th.
Because I realized the couches were burned and she refused to come and get her things. So
And she was what?
She refused to come and get her things.
Okay, so now she doesn't owe you for May's rent because you locked her out in mid-May. She owes you for April's rent. That's $550.
It's $785, actually.
How much rent did she pay you in March of 2015?
$785.
Is that correct?
No, I don't know.
I have
where
a-
you're
Just a
getting that
second.
number.
Okay.
Sorry.
Well, she says $550. You say her share was $785. Now, your entire rent on the apartment is what?
Our entire rent was, I think,
No, now you've been living. Listen to me, Miss Glenn. Now you've been living there by yourself. You should not have to think about what your rent is. That's very easy to find out from your landlord. How much is your rent?
I have a copy of our payments.
I'd like to see it.
I'm so sorry. It's $1,570.
Okay, so you were paying her $785 a month.
I thought that the total rent was $1,100, and the
You made a
money I thought
mistake.
was for
but
utilities.
you made a mistake.
Why would you do that twice?
$780. You're doing it again.
I'm sorry. I won't do it
You're
anymore.
doing it again.
Sorry.
$785. That's what she owes you for the month of April. Month of May, you locked her out. She doesn't pay you anything for May. Now, let's talk about your counterclaim.
Yes, please.
When you changed the keys and locked her out, I want you to look at me, Miss Glenn. I want you to tell me what you put outside. You acknowledge that you put her stuff outside.
I do,
What
yes.
specifically did you put outside?
I put a TV outside.
TV.
Yes.
Where did you put it?
I put it on our porch.
This is a condo or a private house? What is it?
It's like a house that's made into 2 condos.
Okay, so you put the TV outside. I'll see the bill for the TV. What else did you put outside?
I believe I put some of her boots and a guitar outside.
What else?
I think like a mitt and some clothes.
I have pictures of the other things if you would like to see them.
I'll take a look at it. What's wrong with the guitar?
Oh, it got rained on and it doesn't work anymore, and it was all scratched. Like all of my stuff got rained on because I didn't know she put it outside, or I would have came and got it.
There's a text
Just a
message.
second. Here we go. Here we go. You're not following the
I'm so
drill.
sorry.
She put your stuff outside on the 13th of May. On what date did you come back to get it?
I think it was no, I didn't. I had my friend go with me. I didn't know that all my stuff was going to be outside. I thought I would just go and get my stuff.
Okay. Now, I'd like to see the text message that you were telling me about. You sent her a text message that you put her stuff outside?
I did, Your Honor.
I'd like to
Yes,
take
sir.
a look at it. Okay. So, Miss Glenn, she lives there just like you do. She had lived there for a year. According to you, she paid you $785 a month in rent for the time that she lived there,
Yes,
with
Your
the
Honor.
exception of the month of April. You have no right to put her out. There is no legal basis for you to put her out. By changing the locks and disposing of her stuff and putting it outside and rendering it subject to inclement weather, you are totally responsible for any damage that was done to the property.
She didn't pay me rent, so technically she didn't live there, right?
You just told me she paid you $785 a month.
Yeah, but not for the months prior to that.
No, she's still a tenant.
Okay.
And there are still avenues to go through, not throwing her stuff out on the street. That's not what you do.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
And later today,
And May 2nd of 20, it was stolen.
Just a
Your Honor,
second.
there's no place
Just a
for it.
second. It's not stolen. The trailer belonged to his father, period. Sold. You're not getting the trailer back.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Lauren Glenn says ex-girlfriend Brittany Kittredge owes for rent and a burned couch. Brittany is countersuing, also for property damage.
Okay, so the TV, you have bills for the guitar.
Yeah, there's receipts for, there's 2 guitars in there.
Guitar Center was, I can't read this.
I think it's $496. And I didn't have receipts for everything that was out there because I had it for a long time, so.
Well, she owed you $785 for the month of April's rent. I'm deducting that from what you owe her for her damaged property. So I'm dismissing your claim, and on the counterclaim, I'm awarding you $2,600. We're done here. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, you're excused. You may step out.
Justice was served.
She totally owes me for rent, at least. Like the couch. Obviously she did.
She cheated on me.
She's seen a lady or two as well. Don't let her fool you.
Don't ever date a beautiful fire dancer.
She's a fun girl. Like, I'd like to be friends with her. Maybe. Down the line.
and now the next case.
All parties.
Richard Espin is suing his friend's ex-husband, Robert Lee, for the return or value of farm equipment.
It is your claim that the defendant has certain property that was purchased by your father
It is correct.
from Mr. Lee's then-wife, certain farm equipment.
Correct.
Mr. and Mrs. Lee are now divorced. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
And when your father passed away, you inherited the responsibility of going through all of his things. And I assume you have proof to show me that your father made an agreement with Mrs. Lee to purchase 2 pieces of a truck and a baler or something.
It was a trailer and a round bale hauler, and the proof that I have is witness testimony and a receipt.
A receipt from whom?
My witness, Mrs. Lee.
Okay, who is that? You? Okay. Mrs. Lee, can you tell me when you sold Mr. Espin's father this property?
We made the agreement in November of 2012.
Okay. Tell me the circumstances of the agreement. What were you selling him and for what price?
His father had wanted a cattle trailer and a round bale buggy, and I agreed to go ahead and sell it.
Were you neighbors?
No, we were really good friends. We had a very close relationship.
Also, Your Honor, we live in a small community.
Okay. And this property that you sold to him was on the property where you lived with your husband?
Yes, at that time.
And how much did you sell the property for?
A total of $1,400.
Did you receive the money from him?
I received partial payment.
That's in 2012.
2013 is when he came and picked up the cattle trailer is when he made a payment.
Just a second. You picked up the cattle trailer in what month and year?
It was around May 2013 after the land had dried up because it was real rainy and you couldn't get back there.
He picked up the trailer in May of 2013.
Yes, ma'am.
And how much money did he give you?
$200.
And how much was this buggy?
The cattle trailer for $900 and the buggy was $500.
So he only gave you $200. Why?
Well, he was a disabled vet, and we was really good friends. And
whatever. He picked up the trailer, and in exchange for the trailer, he gave you $200
for initial payment.
You have that in the contract?
It was all verbal.
Well, that's a problem. That's a problem.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com.
Okay, so in exchange for that, you got $200. Now, in May of 2013, was your divorce pending?
No, we was still together.
And do you now have the trailer?
I have the stock trailer, but not the hay buggy.
Great. So you own a trailer that was in your father's possession at the time of his death. And as far as I know, unless you have evidence to the contrary, there was no order prohibiting anybody from selling that property.
There is, Your Honor.
Okay. In the divorce proceeding, sometimes there is an order, don't sell property. What's the date of that order?
December 16th is when it was, November 2014 is when it was, we went to court.
This was sold before.
No, ma'am.
You say no, ma'am. Just a minute.
We split in 2012 of July.
I don't care. That's not relevant.
Right. I was on the pipeline, and May 2nd of 2015 is when it was reported stolen, when I noticed that it was stolen.
Just a second.
There's no place
Just
to
a second. It's not stolen. Let me put the trailer to rest. The trailer belonged to his father at the time of his death. He had paid $200 for it, period. Sold. You're not getting the trailer back. That's gone. Now, the only thing that we have to discuss is this hay buggy. The hay buggy is on for it.
Yes, I did.
To whom?
I paid it to my witness, Miss Lee.
Great. In what month and year?
That was in May of 2015 is when I solidified the debt that my father owed.
Very, very good. Then you sue her for the money back because he's keeping his hay buggy. Do you understand? Do you understand? Listen to me carefully.
Yes, ma'am.
The trailer is yours. He's not giving you any property. If you paid her any money, I suggest you sue her for it. Do we understand each other?
Yes, ma'am.
Perfect. We're done. Thank you.
Your Honor, can you look at my evidence?
Listen to me very carefully, sir. The trailer belonged to his father. You're not getting it back. The hay buggy is on your property where you live. It's yours. If he paid money for a hay buggy that his father doesn't have because he solidified the debt 3 years later, then let him sue the person who he gave the money to because she can't deliver the property. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
We're done. We're done.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
Well, I was just trying to do the right thing by taking care of my father's debt.
He was even there to open the gate to let the gentleman in to get the stuff.
I was in Oklahoma at the time.
It's vindictive behavior towards me because he's got so much anger.
For her to move.
Have it in writing.
Her dog's biting my dog, and I threw a kick out, and she started screaming and yelling at me.
A neighbor tries to get the last laugh.
You filed for this protective order. That is such a crock of nonsense. I would have thrown you out and told you to go see a therapist.
But the judge has a knack.
Did you pay this fine, Miss Morris?
No, I did not.
For wiping grins off faces.
Hopefully the city will put a lien on your house.
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Tracy Franks is suing her neighbor, Diana Morris, for vet bills and lost wages due to a dog attack. She is also suing for an assault and false charges.
Order. All rise.
This is case number 151 on the calendar in the matter of Franks versus Morris.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated.
Miss Franks, are you and Miss Morris neighbors?
Yes, we approximately 2 blocks away.
For how long?
Approximately going on 4 years now.
Prior to this incident that involved your car in October of last year, did you have any other incidents with Miss Morris?
Yes, I have.
When did they start and about what?
Approximately October 2014, I was walking my dogs and I passed her house and she was approaching in her Jeep, I guess parking in her garage, which is in the alley access. And she was coming, her dog jumped out and ran at us, me and my 2 Pomeranians, and then it retreated back to the Jeep and she backed up.
We're not talking about the date of the incident that brings us here.
No, this is one prior incident.
So this is prior. This was a year before.
Yes, yes. The dog jumped out one other time, no attack, no nothing, retreated back into the automobile, and then I turned around, went the other way, and proceeded home.
You had no conversation with her? No conversation.
Never seen her in person ever.
So in the 4 years, this incident was the first one that you had before the incident that you're complaining of today?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Go ahead.
And so I was again then walking my dogs, and as I was walking my dogs, she was out watering her hibiscus on her porch, and she started screaming and yelling at me, obscenities, telling me not to walk by her house. Barking, I couldn't really hear a whole lot, so I said it was a free country. You never apologized for the first incident of your dog jumping out, and I continued on. And then on Halloween, which was Saturday, the 31st, I was walking my dogs again, 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I come around the block up my street, and I could hear as I was passing by, usually the dogs are running back and forth across the fence. And this time I didn't hear that. I heard the dogs confined to her garage area. And I continued on, and as I was coming south down my road going home, she then came north in her big Jeep with big mud tires and veered all the way across the street, ran up on somebody's property, did a 180 around me. I had my dogs. I didn't know if I was getting ran over. My dogs, I was pulling them in.
Is what you're telling me she was home and went and got the dogs?
I believe that the dogs were confined in the garage and she was at home and waiting for me. She could probably hear me coming because all the dogs in the neighborhood bark at one another when you're walking them. So I think she was ready for me to come. And at that time when I came around the corner and she came with the Jeep, she came up, hopped these people's property, did a 180, parked like as if she was going to wash her car on their property. And at that
dog.
She has cattle dogs, Australian Shepherds, or...
How did they get out of the car?
I didn't have my top on at the time. I took it off for the summer and then hadn't put it on yet.
How many do you have?
I have 4.
Okay, go ahead.
And as she approached the curb, I had my dogs. I was raking them in on their retractable leashes, pulling them in. At the same time behind me, one jumped out, and I was watching her come around, making sure I wasn't going to get ran over or my animals weren't going to get ran over. And she got up on that, and at the same time, her dog's biting my dog, and I threw a kick out and almost fell down, and she's cussing and screaming at me, telling me not to be walking my dogs by her place, anything like that. And I ran around, and I got her license plate from the back because there was not a front one. I ran home, called 911 at 1:10 and let them know what had happened. And she called 911 at 5:30 and claimed that it happened 20 minutes ago.
Okay. Do you have the reports, police reports?
I actually have the recordings.
Yeah, I would actually like to see the report if you have it.
I have numerous reports.
The one that came in at 1:10.
The one at 1:10 they did not give me, but this one on 11:3 it does back out to see my dog. It does have the date of 10:31 highlighted on there.
Just a second. This date is what date?
11:3 I called animal control.
3 days later.
Yes, the incident happened on Saturday. Then I waited until Monday to take my dog to the vet and had to go to work and called animal control and the police station. And it states the 31st it happened.
I'd like to see the vet's write-up because you claimed that your dog was bitten. I'd like to see that.
The picture?
I'd like to see any evidence that you have of a dog bite and the vet's report.
There's all the pictures.
No, just show me the picture of the dog's injury and the vet report.
Okay, vet report. Here's the report.
No, this wasn't a bite. This is not a picture of a bite. Let's understand each other. The vet did surgery, but the vet did surgery on this dog for something else.
No, I have a prior picture of the abscess on that swelled up.
I want to see a dog bite on your dog's face. Do you understand what I'm saying to you?
I completely understand what you're saying.
Well, then let's get to it.
There was no blood. It has, if you look at the bottom of the report of the vet bill, it does state that it was a puncture wound on the face of the dog, and that's what swelled up.
Well, there was
just no blood.
I need a report from a vet that shows me. Certainly, this doesn't show any injury to the dog. I don't see any injury to the dog. Am I
You can't
missing
see
something?
the swelling on the side.
Am I missing something? Do you see any injury to the dog?
Not really. I just see swelling on that side.
Swelling.
At the bottom of the vet bill, it states that it was from a puncture wound.
I see what's typed in here.
Yes.
In a different type than the rest of the report.
That's from the Mays Animal Hospital. You could call him directly if you wanted to.
I'm not going to call him directly.
I didn't add that on there.
I'm not going to call him directly. You have a police report? Did you pay this fine, Miss Morris?
No, I did not.
Why?
Because they're false. Well, I think the fine's in the mail. I appealed it.
And what happened?
They assessed the order, and I tried to appeal the order. They keep on refusing my appeal.
So you have to pay this fine. Your dogs can't be out.
Well, they weren't out. They were actually in the Jeep with me.
No, they weren't. They weren't in the Jeep with you. They were out of your control on at least 2 occasions. Because I'm not sure about the nexus between the abscess that the dog had and what happened with your dog. I'm not sure, because certainly if I had dogs that I loved, like you love your dogs, and my dog was bitten on a Saturday, I would not wait till Monday to go to a vet.
I was unemployed.
I don't care. On Monday you went. Did you get a job between Saturday and Monday?
No, my mother paid for it.
She would have paid for it on Saturday, too.
Yeah.
You went... You know, you have an answer for everything. Just like your mom paid for it on Monday, mom would have paid for it on Sunday.
I know.
Oh, I know.
ER's expensive.
So that doesn't do it for me.
Okay.
You understand?
No, I understand.
That doesn't excuse the fact that you can't drive around with your Jeep without the top on it, with your dogs, not under your control, so that they can scare people.
Well, they usually don't jump out unless I get out, but with the first incident that she mentioned in 2014, I didn't even know she even existed coming around. I've seen her a few times at 3 o'clock in the morning when I've come home. She has passed my house, and I said, who is this lady walking around?
Did you file a restraining order against her?
Yes, I did.
I'd like to see the basis for your restraining order.
Okay.
That's part of her lawsuit. Do you own your own home?
Yes, I do.
The city's going to put a lien on it. On your home.
Yeah, they've already threatened me, yes.
No. Yeah, but they ought to do it.
They've called me.
They ought to do it. So now what I'm reading, Miss Morris, is that after she filed her police complaint, you filed for this protective order. That is such a crock of nonsense that if I was sitting in court, I would have thrown you out and told you to go see a therapist. Actually, I would have. I would have said, you know, this is a courthouse. You want the medical office someplace else. You're disturbed because she walks by your house with her dogs at all hours of the day and night trying to annoy you. And did somebody actually give you a temporary restraining order?
No, I knew it wasn't going to. Yeah,
just a second. So they didn't give you a temporary restraining order. I have faith, again, in the legal system.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today,
she had a problem with one of my friends, and she was screaming at her. Well, when she saw me, that's when she approached me. In my driver's side mirror, I saw her kick my car.
May I see the police report?
Yes, ma'am.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Tracy Frank says neighbor Diana Morris owes for vet bills, lost wages, an assault, and false charges. Diana's countersuing for harassment.
Now, you did serve her.
Yes, I did.
Is that correct?
Yes, I did.
That's going to cost you $1,500. Now, hopefully the city will put a lien on your house. Hopefully, because you can't just keep ignoring that, and you can't abuse the system. You don't like that she walks in your alleyway? That's too bad. Insulate your house with materials so that you don't hear it.
Well, Your Honor, she's actually made noise with her dogs 3, 4, 5 in the morning, waking up neighbors.
I'm not granting you any money on the vet bill because I'm not satisfied, to my satisfaction, that her dog bit your dog, not based on the proof that you give me today. It's possible that your dog had a throat abscess. It's possible. That throat abscess didn't develop in a 48-hour period. Otherwise, you would have a more complete and fulsome report from the vet. So I'm really not satisfied that there was any injury. But I am compelled because one of the that she did. And did you respond to it?
Yes.
Did you have to go to court?
Yes, I did during
$1,500 judgment for the plaintiff. We're done.
Parties are excused and they step out.
Oh, my God, because she's a liar.
I had no issues with her.
I didn't know she was alive. I didn't even know she lived in the neighborhood until she started coming around.
When somebody wants to try to run me over, I feel they need to pay for their consequences.
Judge Judy says I need psychiatric help.
So she does need the psychiatric help.
I think it's Tracy that needs it, not me.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Hall versus Cabrera. Step forward.
22-year-old Ashley Hall is suing her former friend, 20-year-old Marissa Cabrera, for damaging her car when she kicked it.
Ms. Hall, you knew the defendant from high school, and it is your claim that after a night in a bar where you allege, at least, that Ms. Cabrera, who's underage for drinking, was drunk, she vandalized your car by kicking it.
Yes.
And you want her to fix the car. Ms. Cabrera denies that she kicked your car. She has a countersuit for filing a false police report and online bullying. So let's get to the evening that this happened. This was on July 31st of last year.
Yes, ma'am.
What's the name of the bar?
Stampede.
How old are you?
22.
And you? Somebody else's ID.
With my ID.
Did you drink at all when you were there?
I didn't.
No alcohol?
No.
Now, the two of you had some negative history in high school. Yes. What was that?
We actually were friends in high school. It happened when I came back from college after my second year. I didn't like how she was presenting herself at the bar. She would be rude to people. She would be promiscuous, make out with 2 different guys the same night. I didn't want that reputation.
Did you have an argument about it?
I tried confronting her about it. She denied it. So I just told her, look, I don't want to be friends anymore. No hard feelings.
So tell me now what happened on the 31st of July.
The 31st, we showed up with different friends. 3 of my friends met up with me. She came with her friends. We tried avoiding them. They tried egging us on, flipping their hair.
No, just a second. Why were you avoiding them? Did your friends have problems with her friends?
We had problems with them before.
Okay, is that because they're younger, or is that...
We just didn't like how they presented themselves, and they would bully people.
Okay. So you try to stay away?
Yes.
Go ahead.
And after we got out of the bar about 1:30, 2 o'clock when it closed, she had a problem with one of my friends because they were with the same guy basically, and they didn't like that. And she was screaming at her. Well, when she saw me, that's when she approached me with one of her witnesses, Lexi. They started yelling at me. I told them, I don't understand why you're so caught up in this. I don't have anything against you. I just want to be away from the drama. And that's when people were yelling at me, telling me, just get in your car. So that's what I did. And in my driver's side mirror, I saw her kick my car. And I have the police report where 2 other girls that I wasn't friends with.
May I see the police report?
Yes, ma'am. And that's the receipt as well.
Okay.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Can you think of any reason why she would tell the police that you kicked the plaintiff's car and that she told you she would not lie for you if the police asked her?
Correct.
Now you can tell me why you think this person who was your friend would lie to the police.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Ashley Hall says former friend Marissa Cabrera vandalized her vehicle after a night out at a bar. Marissa is countersuing for harassment, a false police report, and online bullying.
What's your last name?
Owen.
Yours?
Cabrera.
What's your last name?
Mosbacher.
Miss Gehring isn't here.
No, ma'am, she had work.
Just admit she's not here.
Okay.
Now, when you left that evening after this incident in the parking lot, which there was an incident in the parking lot.
Correct.
Had you come to the bar with Miss Gehring?
We all came as a group, yes.
You and your group included Miss Gehring? Uh-huh is not an answer.
Correct, yes.
How many cars were used?
2.
Did you drive?
Yes, I did. I drove me and Alexis.
How many people were in your car?
2 coming and 2 going.
Name the other 2 people in the car. Coming.
It was me and Alexis.
Alexis what?
Owen, my witness.
And going home?
Me and Loring.
So she was a friend of yours?
Correct.
Can you think of any reason why she would tell the police that you kicked the plaintiff's car?
Me and...
So the answer would be yes. You can think of a reason.
Yes, I could.
That your friend that day, when interviewed by the police, told them that you kicked the plaintiff's car and that she told you she would not lie for you if the police asked her.
Correct.
Now you can tell me why you think this person who was your friend would lie to the police.
Goring and me have had problems in high school. We've had a patchy friendship, I could say, and as she has been with everybody else. She's been off and on with every one of her friends. They used to call her a renter friend. That's how she is.
Well, that's not a reason for her to lie about you committing a crime.
I did not commit a crime. I did not kick Ashley's car.
Well, you're not following my question. The reason that you're giving me this altercation to leave the premises with, who was questioned by the police the next day, who came with you was with your group, when asked by the police, didn't say, I didn't see anybody kick the car. I don't know who kicked the car. She said, you kicked the car. And she told you that night that if the police asked her, she would tell them the truth. So that's the answer you're giving me. Because, yeah, sometimes she's your friend, sometimes she's other people's friends. That's the answer that you're giving me.
And she feeds off of drama. So if there's any incident, she would pick anybody's side, whoever she wants. And I took her home that night, not because, like, we're really good friends, because we aren't. I took her home because she needed a ride home. That's why.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by... Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Okay. Can I see pictures of the car?
Yes, ma'am.
May I see an estimate for the damage replacement? Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,600.
Your Honor,
Thank
what
you.
about
That's
the
it.
counterclaim?
We're done.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
She was drunk and intoxicated that night, and she just, I guess, didn't like the fact that I didn't want to be friends with her.
Well, because obviously she's always had problems with me, jealousy or whatever it may be since high school.
She kicked it while I was getting in, and she had cowboy boots on. That's why there's a big dent.
Her normal self, trying to pick a fight, probably just to get money.
I go to school out in Texas, so I just got rid of the drama when I left to go back to college.
I will never speak to that girl again.
He was supposed to stay 300 feet away from him at all times.
He says a restraining order couldn't stop his cousin.
I seen Anna grab something from Patricia, and Anna was coming towards my car.
And has called to 911.
I heard something.
Paints a vivid picture.
I heard what appeared to be a crash. Was the window smashed?
That's when they threw the rock.
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Billy Dye is suing us and Pat's friends, Anna and Shondell Coppage, for vandalizing his car.
Order. All rise.
Yeah, that's case number 161 on the calendar, matter of Dye versus Bailey Mangroom Coppage.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Have a seat.
Mr. Dye, Miss Mangrew was your cousin.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
According to you, you got Miss Mangrew a job at the same place where you were working.
Yes, ma'am, I did.
What kind of place were you
It
working?
was at Metro PCS Wireless.
According to you, your cousin was promoted to a better job at the same company.
Yes, Judge.
And this lady, whose last name is Coppage, and you're her husband.
Correct.
This lady also works at the same company.
Yes, Judge.
But you do not.
No, ma'am.
Okay. Now, something happened, and you lost your job.
I actually quit because there was too much.
Your Honor, he did not. He was actually terminated.
Don't speak unless I'm speaking to you. And it is your claim that all three of these defendants vandalized your car.
Yes, Judge.
Now, you say in your complaint that you were granted a protective order
Yes, Judge.
against Miss Mangrew.
Yes, Judge.
Do you have a copy of that?
I don't. I went to the No, ma'am.
You don't. Did you have a trial?
Yes.
And
I granted for the 2 years.
Is that correct?
Only in part. His
Just-
order of protection got granted only because I was unable to show. I had one against him.
No. Did he get an order of protection against you for 2 years?
Yes.
Do you have any of the paperwork with regard to the protective order?
This is the one I brought with me.
Well, I'd like to see it.
Here you go.
And then, Bird, while I'm looking at this, I'd like to see the order.
Thank you.
Okay, got it. There was, in fact, a default. You were granted a protective order for 2 years.
Yes.
You were supposed to stay 300 feet away from him at all times, and you were supposed to refrain from exercising any contact with him, including through social media. Okay, now, an incident occurred according to you, on March 25th of this
Judge.
year. First involving Miss Mangrew and Miss Coppage.
Yes, Judge.
Just the two ladies. Tell me what happened.
What happened is I currently work at McDonald's. I was heading to work, and when I was driving down Broadway at the corner of Broadway and 6th Street, there was a stoplight. I had to stop because it was a red light.
What time?
It was around 6:45.
In the morning.
At night. In the afternoon, yes, Judge. And it was to my left. I seen Anna grab something from Patricia.
Did you see, were they on foot or?
They were actually standing outside in front of Metro PCS.
Your Honor, that's not what the police state reports.
Just a second. I told you before, don't interrupt him. I get back to you. Don't interrupt him. They were standing in front of what's PCS?
Metro PCS Wireless.
That's where they worked.
Yes, ma'am. That's where they were.
What were you going past there for?
I was heading to work.
And you have to pass that place to go to work at McDonald's? There's no other
it's like a
way
block
that you
away. The other streets that go down, it's all one way if I have to go.
Okay. It's a block and a half away.
Yes, from Metro PCS.
In what town do you live, sir?
Rockford, Illinois.
How many McDonald's are there?
There's several.
Well, why do you work in one that's a block and a half away from Miss Mangrew?
Because I live right a block from Metro PCS.
Well, if you live a block away, what were you in your car for?
Because I was driving to work. I don't walk because the problems that I'm having with these people, I don't trust anything to do with them because that's why I stay away. I rather drive and to walk. If I walk, something else might seriously happen.
Okay. So now you're driving to work and you see the two ladies
Yes.
who were in front of their place of employment.
Yes.
And you saw them do what?
I seen Anna grab something from Patricia, and Anna was coming towards my car. So I couldn't go anywhere because I'm gonna prevent from anything happening. Well, when the light turned green, Anna squirted something all over my car. I have a picture showing that they squirted mustard all over my car. When I was driving, I smelled something very sour, bitter. I'm like, oh my goodness, I hope this is not mustard on my white car. A picture showing where there's mustard squirted on my car.
I'd like to see it. Okay.
So what I did is,
what did you do?
I pulled a block down the street where the dollar store is. I pulled over, I called the police.
Okay. Do you have a police report?
I actually have the police report, the call that I made right after when they actually damaged my car. And this happened right after I called for the mustard. What happened was when the police came out and seen my car.
Don't tell me what anybody saw. Okay, well, this police report had to do with the second event that involved Mr. Coppage.
Yes, it involved all
Okay.
three.
All right. So now I want you to tell me about the second incident. That also happened on the same date.
It was right after the mustard. The police officers told me to go wash my car if it was stained or anything. Come back to where I was sitting, call the police, and they'll just file criminal damage.
Okay.
So I was rubbing it really hard to see if it come off. Well, it was coming off. By the time I was actually calling dispatch, And actually, I had the 911 right here is walking across the street, coming into the dollar store. They walked up to the dollar store's door, then they came back, walked by my car. They split up. When Patricia split up and walked to the side of Family Dollar.
Did you say anything to her?
I didn't say anything. I didn't say anything because I just wanted to keep the problems minimum. I was just waiting for the police to come.
You had called the police?
I have called the police. The thing is, I was calling the police to say, you know what, I'm getting the mustard off. I was scrubbing it really hard to rub it off. At that time, I was calling dispatch. That's when I seen them approaching, coming across the street.
Did you say anything to them?
I didn't say absolutely nothing at all. I don't want any problem. I just wanted to...
Just a second. Well, did you tell the police that they were coming back?
When I was on the audio right here, you can hear where it says that they're coming across now.
I'd like to hear that.
Okay.
Hello? Yeah, I'm actually my phone kind of thing. The girl that actually gets in the car, she's actually walking by the car, calling me. And now she's walking to my car. What's her date of birth? I don't know. Only thing I found out is around this when I'm in the car in court after I seen it. No problem. Okay, so she's around. Is she coming in the car? Actually, they were coming to my car and smashed my window.
They had already smashed the window. They'd already smashed the window because I heard something.
Yes.
Turn it off. Turn it off. While you were on a crash, was it then that your window was broken?
Yeah, that's when they threw the rock.
Okay.
Yes,
fine,
yes, Judge.
Very good. Now, that's
and
all.
I have a witness here that was, apparently when I went back the last week, she approached me and asked me if I was okay, and she's seen part of it when it was...
Did you know her before?
No, ma'am.
No, and she's not mentioned in the report.
What part of be quiet don't you understand? Step up. Tell me your name.
Amber Bainey.
Do you know the plaintiff?
I do not.
Tell me the first time that you met him.
It was actually at the dollar store. It was approximately a week after this had happened. I had seen him and asked him if he was okay and if they,
Tell me what you observed on March 25th. Do you work at the dollar store?
No, ma'am. I recently moved to Rockford, and I was loading my stuff into my car, and I heard the commotion and heard the actual hit of the glass.
Did you see who was there? Did you see who was throwing the rocks?
All three of the defendants were there.
Okay, good. Have a seat. Thank you. Now I'll hear you. Your testimony is relatively simple.
Yes.
Listen to me, because you say that none of you could have been present there because else.
Yes, and I have that.
Well, I'd like to see it.
Okay. I also have the police report. I don't know if you want to see that.
I do.
And then
well,
also...
I have a police report. I just want to make certain that it's the same police report. I'll take
also have...
I have messages, too. Sorry.
You also have...
I also have messages from him saying how he will pay someone to bid her. He would like to record. And this is his personal page from Facebook.
Just a second. I'll look at it.
Judge, I deactivated
What is this?
my Facebook a couple months.
This is nonsense. I don't want to look at this at all. Give this back to her. It's not evidence.
And you can actually call her.
I don't have to call anybody. It's not evidence. It's nonsense. This is May 30th. This is after the event, right?
Yes, ma'am.
I have this police report. Now, can I see the estimate for your damage, please?
Yes, Judge.
Yeah.
There you go.
You have absolutely no proof that you weren't there.
And Judge?
You have no proof that you weren't.
You can actually call her. I was in the Chicagoland area.
Listen to me. If you have a witness, you bring a witness.
She can't come.
Well, she can't come? I believe her.
Okay,
absolutely,
how about my
and I believe
countersuit?
that. And I
How about my
believe this.
countersuit for actually the harassment and lost wages?
Just a second. And I believe that.
And also,
and I
she
don't,
was not here.
How do you know she wasn't there? Just
because
a second.
I actually have messages in my phone from his sister-in-law that just sent me this last night in my phone talking about her, that he told his own brother how he smashed his own window. I just received this message from his sister-in-law
last night.
Just a second.
Nope.
That's hearsay.
Okay.
And then I also have about my countersuit, all the harassment he has been doing to me since January. Lost wages going back and forth to court since February.
Let me tell you this. You want to do away with a protective order that was issued in...
Just the countersuit.
I'm speaking.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today,
That would be disgusting of you as a child to let your mother live in a bad apartment, right?
Yes.
So it must be okay.
Okay, yes.
Good.
But
Now,
I know about
just
the
a second.
damages, Mom.
I'm not talking to you. You're the defendant.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Billy Dye says former friend Pat Bailey Mangroom and Pat's friends, Anna and Shondell Coppage, vandalized his vehicle. The defendants are countersuing for harassment and lost wages.
Now, you want to do away with a protective order that was issued for 2 years that you have, why you couldn't be there, why someone else, another witness that you had couldn't be there. Then you go back to the court and say, this is the proof that I have. I was hospitalized. I was incapacitated with the flu. Whatever excuse you think will persuade the judge to open up that protective order. Other than that, I'm not hearing your counterclaim. Do you understand?
All he's doing is harassing me because I wouldn't rehire him. He even said in these
Judgment
messages.
for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,170.
He's going to harass me
Counterclaims
for the rest
dismissed.
of my
We're
life.
done.
You judge.
He'll be back in Rockford
Parties are
harassing me
excused and
again.
they step out.
He did it himself. He sat there and told everyone on social media.
Never.
I kicked my own window in just so I could try to get some money out of her and throw her in jail.
Never told anyone that I broke a window or anything. I would never break my own car window that I really cherish to have.
That's how crazy he is.
Because every time I hear about my car, it hurts me.
And now all he's doing is continuing to sit here in court and make these lies and allegations to try to just discredit my name.
Because I work very hard for something that I pay for.
I guess karma is really going to get him in the end.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter, Connolly versus Romero. Step forward.
John and Suzanne Connolly are suing their former tenant, Veronica Romero, for rent and property.
We are.
And you rented to this lady. She was your tenant, according to your papers, for 17 years. Is that correct?
That's incorrect.
How long?
We rented to her grandmother for approximately 15 years, and she's still a tenant.
This lady?
No, that is her sister.
Who is she?
She is my current tenant's sister.
Daughter. She's my mother.
That's my mother. My grandmother rents from them currently.
Great. Could you stand up, please? Tell me your last name.
Hernandez.
Ms. Hernandez, your mother has been a tenant of Mr. and Mrs. Connolly for 15 years?
Correct.
And in all of those 15 years, have you ever moved to evict her mother?
No,
She's been a good tenant.
she has.
Pays her rent on time.
She does.
Apartment is kept in good order.
It is.
No.
Just a second. I'm not asking you anything. Would you let your mother live in a bad apartment? Look at me.
No.
You wouldn't. Right, because that would be disgusting of you as a child to let your mother live in a bad apartment, right?
Yes.
So she's been living in this apartment for 15 years, so it must be okay.
Okay, yes.
Good.
Well,
Good.
let them know about
just
the
a second.
damages, Mom.
I'm not talking to you. You're the defendant. Because for 15 years they rented. They rented to you, and they rented to you what month and year?
June 1st, 2015.
And at that time you were 17 years old?
No.
How old were you?
Me, currently, I'm 32.
Oh, you're 32.
Yeah. I wish I was 17 again.
Me too.
No.
Me too.
That'd be nice.
June of 2015. And when did you move out?
I left January 11th. There's a text message. that I
January,
received.
just a second,
Yeah.
January 11th, 2016.
Yeah.
That's when you say you left.
Yeah.
When do you say she left?
She left approximately, Judge Judy, on
March 3rd.
March 3rd without any notice.
Okay, I'd like to know.
I have a 3-day notice.
I understand
Yeah.
you have a 3-day notice. That doesn't mean you left.
Yeah. Yes, I did.
That means that you got a 3-day notice to leave in
And I did.
January.
I did.
But that doesn't mean you left.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Do you have proof of that?
I
I'd like
don't
to-
have my bank statements.
Why not?
Because the card that I used to withdraw money was discontinued because I upgraded my debit card. So I couldn't get all the records from the bank anymore. So
it's ridiculous.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. John and Suzanne Connolly owes for rent and property damage.
Now, when you moved out of the apartment that they were renting to you, give me the address that you moved to.
I moved to my mother's because he turned off the hot water.
Just a second.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Yeah.
Now, When was the last time you paid the Connollys rent?
December of 2015.
December?
Because I left and moved January 11th.
Just a second.
Yeah.
December of 2013. And how much money did you give them?
I only gave them $550.
And how much was your rent?
$800.
And what about in November? How much rent did you give them in November?
I wasn't late only for December.
I didn't ask you
there
late.
was
Late you didn't pay them because you didn't pay them what you were supposed to. Now I'm back in November.
800.
How much rent did you pay in November?
800.
Do you have proof of that?
Yeah.
I'd like
don't
to-
have my bank statements.
Why not?
Because the card that I used to withdraw money was discontinued because I upgraded my debit card. So I couldn't get all the records from that from the bank anymore. So
it's ridiculous. Did she pay in November? Did
She
pay in
paid
November?
us on November, I believe it was the 30th. She paid us $550 to go towards some back rent on some months that she didn't pay us.
When did she stop paying you the full $800 a month?
That would be on August the 10th.
that's a lie.
All you have to do is show me your bank records. I'm not going to hear you otherwise. Do you
Okay.
understand? Because, Miss Romero, I'm explaining it to you carefully. Your grandmother lived there for 15 years.
I understand, but
she
it
never
was
had
never
she
fixed.
never had
So, yeah.
a rent dispute with them. Which
She
suggest-
never, Judge Judy, honestly, because he
No,
talks
tell
to
me
my grandmother
Don't tell me.
badly.
Listen to me.
So,
Don't
yeah.
tell me honestly. Your grandmother, does she still live there?
She's still there because
Just a second.
she's
Don't tell
afraid
me
to
because.
move.
I don't want to know because your mother says she would not let her mother live
How
in.
would you
just to,
let her
she
know
wouldn't let her mother live
how
in
she
a
lives?
situation that was untenable. So your grandmother is still there. They've never moved to evict them, which means there's nothing to suggest, even in your family history, that they're trying to get over.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Now, how much rent does her grandmother pay?
She pays $850
She's
a
on
month.
Section 8, so she doesn't pay very much at all. She's on housing.
How much does she owe you? You made those payments in the amount of $4,400.
I don't owe him that because on here it says I only owe $800 and $200 was from December that I owed and $800 here. This is a 3-day notice he gave to me after he harassed me and my mom.
Judgment for the
who is
plaintiff
sick.
in the amount of $4,400. We're done.
Excuse me.
We're done.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
Former brother-in-laws tangle over a repossession.
That was not the last payment, and he knew that.
He made almost $7,000 worth of payments on this truck, and you hustled him.
Next Judge Judy.
I've learned that you have to trust your instincts, and I knew when she walked into my office
He pretty much lied about me paying that much rent.
that I was dealing with somebody that I really didn't want to, but because of her grandmother, which has been an absolute doll,
He's harassed me and my mother, who's sick with cancer.
as a tenant for us for 15 years, I went ahead and accepted her as a tenant. So, lesson learned.
But what I'm going to do is get a restraining order after this.
No more free rides, and you know what? There are still good people out there.
It is what it is. I'm glad it's over, so I can move on.
It didn't work out in an almost unseemly way.
A roommate's violent eviction. And there was no going back.
They served me with a temporary restraining order and said the room was empty. Moved everything out.
She took it with her.
I'm only going to listen to one of you. Who's going to tell me the truth?
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
19-year-old Lakin Pickrell is suing her former roommates, Francesca Ortega and boyfriend Martin Torres, for the return of rent and security deposit, stolen and damaged property, an assault, and a false restraining order.
Order. All rise.
This is case number 149 on the calendar in the matter of Pickrell versus Ortega Torres.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Ladies, have a seat, please.
Ms. Pickrell, you rented a room in an apartment that was either owned or rented by the defendants. And it is your claim that it didn't work out, but it didn't work out in a sort of uncross your arms. it didn't work out in an almost unseemly way, and you were told to leave the apartment. You had already paid your rent called?
Yes, the authorities were called on the 23rd until
of May
until the 27th of May. Every day until I was forced out of the residence.
Okay. And what you want is you want your rent back because you had already paid June's rent?
Yes, correct.
And what was the rent they were charging you for the room?
$650 for the room.
When had you moved in? In what month?
I moved in March 1st, 2015.
So March was okay?
Yes, March was fine.
And then you moved your boyfriend in?
Yes, he is staying there.
But with their permission, they charged him an extra $100 a month for increased utilities.
Yes.
When did you move your boyfriend in?
He moved in towards the middle of March, and
then they accepted your rent for April?
Yes.
Is it correct that you accepted her rent for April?
Yes.
That's either a yes or a no.
No.
He says yes, you say no. You want to discuss it with each other?
It's because she has the dates wrong. She moved in April, not March.
Could you please answer my question? Did she pay April's rent?
Yes.
Yeah, she paid the first rent.
Did you?
That's the month she moved in.
I'm only going to listen to one of you. Okay. Who's going to tell me the truth? Figure it out.
Marna, if you get the dates wrong, you can say yes.
She paid April's rent, which you accepted, $650.
Yes.
And she paid May's rent,
yes.
$650.
Yes.
And did she pay May's rent by check or cash?
Check.
Check. And did she pay June's rent?
No.
You have check to show me for June?
Yes, I do.
I'd like to see it.
It was not a rent for the month. It was a deposit, security deposit. I clearly explained that to her from the beginning.
I don't care what you explained. I want to see the check.
Okay.
I have all three right here, Your Honor.
May I see them, please?
This does state that it was last month. I gave it.
Could I just see what you have? Perfect. Well, April 3rd, you have $500 for rent, okay? Then it went up to $650. Is that because the boyfriend moved in?
That's because I gave her the $150 in cash. I only have the check for the $500 for the last month.
Okay. So you have March 31st, and March 31st was for?
April.
April?
Yes.
And then I have April 3rd. Why would you pay her March 31st and then April 3rd?
That was a security deposit.
I'm sorry.
It's because she wanted an additional $650 for her last month's rent in case anything was to come up, and that's that check.
Or for security. Doesn't make any difference. Perfect. And then I have on May 1st.
June is right there.
You could either have June or you can have this as security deposit. Which was it? It can't be June.
Security deposit was not $650. She added $150, and that's what I did give her in cash. That's $650.
That's fine.
Rent.
But so you did not pay June's rent?
I did, and I wrote last month's. In the memo, I wrote last month.
Look to me. Either you paid security or you paid last month's rent.
I paid last month's rent.
Okay, fine. You paid last month's rent when you first moved in. Is that what you're telling me? Is that how you evaluated it? That you paid last month's rent when you first moved in? You paid no security deposit?
I paid last month's rent in the middle, and that was April 3rd, because she wanted to bring that up in the middle.
You can't have it both ways. Either you paid last month's rent or you paid security deposit. Which one was it?
Last month's rent.
Fine. So there's no security deposit. Now, and you moved out in May. So you want your 1 month's rent back, which is $650.
Correct.
Because you weren't there in June. There are two other things. There's a claim here for filing a false restraining order against you. Is that correct?
Yes.
But you all went to mediation with regard to that. Am I also correct?
Yes.
And you resolved that case with a mediator. Is that also correct?
Yes.
So I'm not entertaining that. Did they?
No.
So that case is resolved. The next part of the case that I'm going to entertain is your property. Now, when you moved in, what property did you move in with?
I moved in a queen-size bed.
Okay.
Also.
Where is her bed?
She moved everything out.
She took it with her.
She took it with her. How did she take it with her?
She was moving out for 2 days.
She had 2 days. She took
That's
2 days
not
to move all her
correct, Your
stuff out.
Okay. He helped her.
I even helped her.
I have a video of them forcing me out, Your Honor, if I could play it.
Yeah, after her sister barged in her apartment.
Absolutely. I would like to see
and
it.
broke everything and beat him up.
Just a second. Listen to me. I don't see a counterclaim here. I'm going to look at the video. He says he helped her move. just a second. Tell me on what date this video was taken.
This was May 27th, and this was around 8:30 p.m.
On what date do you claim you helped her move her stuff out? I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to him. On what date do you claim you move her things out? What date?
I don't remember exactly.
I want you to remember exactly. We're not talking about something that happened 20 years ago. On what date did you help her move her things out?
It was a year ago.
Last year. It was.
Remember the day of the week, Marty. Remember the day of the week. Remember what happened exactly.
It was a Tuesday.
Okay, let's see.
Traumatizing.
Your Honor, I do have a receipt here. The police advised me to purchase a new doorknob with a lock.
Don't tell me what the police advised you.
Okay. Sorry.
Well, shortly after that you moved out. Did you move out that day?
That night, I was physically forced out.
Okay. Did you ever go back to the apartment?
I went back on May 29th with a police escort to retrieve my belongings, and they served me with a temporary restraining order and said the room was empty.
Okay, fine. Very good. Uncross your arms.
I'm not feeling good.
Okay, then you can sit down. On what day were you served a protective order?
It was like the following day after she left.
Do you remember the police coming back to your house with her on the 20th?
Yeah, she came. Sorry.
Do you remember the police coming back to your house with her?
Yes.
Do you remember the police going through the apartment?
They went in.
Easy to verify with the precinct. Was it before the police came or after the police left or while they were there that you helped her move out her bed? Look at me.
It was before.
It was before. So
Yeah,
it was
it was 2 days.
So it was between the 27th when that scuffle went on and she left the apartment and the 29th. So it had to be the 28th.
Yes.
It had to be the 28th that you say you were helpful with her and helped her move her property out. I just want to understand that that's what you're telling me. It's a good thing she sat down.
Yeah.
She would have been falling down. You see, if she was standing up next to you, then maybe you would have some support. So let me see what you want me to believe. You want me to believe that you had this sort of scuffle with her, that you filed a protective order against her because of this, so that she could not come back to the residence. But the next day, she came back to the residence on the 28th.
No, I'm sorry.
No. Sit. No.
You have
Sit.
not let us talk.
Did you hear what I said? I'm going to give you 1, 2, 3.
No, I'm sorry, but
out.
you're not letting us
Out.
talk. This
Out.
is not even
Out.
what happened.
Out.
You got all the...
Out.
You have all the dates wrong, everything wrong.
Out. And be quiet.
Okay, believe whatever
Good.
you want.
Perfect.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
So you want me to believe that after this kerfuffle, you, being the nice guy that you are, helped her move her furniture out of the room. That's what you want me to believe.
And later today,
What was your rent?
$750.
And how much security deposit did you put down?
$750.
So that's the $750 that's at issue today.
Yes.
Why are you suing him for $1,500?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Lakin Pickram says former roommates Francesca Ortega and boyfriend Martin Torres physically forced her out of their apartment.
Now, your answer, I'm not even dealing with her complaint. Your answer talks about all the dates, those 27th, 28th. So you want me to believe that after this kerfuffle, which occurred on the 27th of May, and the police came back on the 29th, I assume that you have a report that they went with you?
Yes.
May I see it? That in between those 2 days, you, being the nice guy that you are, helped her move. That's what you want me to believe.
Yes, I helped her move her stuff. Good. I never threw any of her stuff away.
You may not have. Now, Mr. Torres, whether the $650 was the last month's rent, which was June, or security deposit, you do not have a counterclaim, which means that there is no claim made by you that there was any damage caused by her to the house, to the apartment.
Yeah, we do. We got the evidence right here.
Just a second.
We got all the pictures.
Just a second. Hand down. I don't have a counterclaim, sir. I don't care what you have there. There is no counterclaim here for damage.
Well, what is a counterclaim?
We just wanted her out. We didn't want nothing to do with her.
We don't ever see her again.
We just wanted her
out, please.
Sure.
Can I just
put
ask
her
for
out.
5 minutes?
Put her out.
2 minutes.
Put her out.
Want to say,
put her out.
Explain her
Put her
story
out.
for 2 minutes because I feel like you're
Out.
manipulating.
Out.
You're manipulating
Out.
the situation
Miss.
with your questions.
Miss,
Out.
Come this way.
This is ridiculous.
You have no counterclaim for any damage, which you would have had to have served her to say she's not due back the $650, which we're claiming a security deposit is going to be responsible for. You did not file that against her. Therefore, she's entitled to her rent/security deposit back because she lived there a certain amount of months.
She never signed anything, though. We had a verbal agreement where she had a cat that she didn't even have a pet deposit for.
Mr. Torres, listen to me carefully, sir. Counterclaim.
We're taking it out of her security
You
deposit.
did not take it out of her security deposit because no court said you could take it out of her security deposit. That's what we're here for. And since you didn't file a counterclaim, she's entitled to her $650 back. Now the only thing that I have to determine is whether I believe she got all of her property back.
Your Honor.
What?
I do have a receipt that shows at 3:22 on May 27th, I purchased a whole new doorknob and lock.
I
so
don't care.
locked my
I
property
told you
in.
before I don't care about the doorknob and lock. All I care about is the furniture. Now, the question is, when you went to mediation on the protective order, did the mediator discuss your furniture?
No, they did not discuss my furniture.
Why?
They said I should proceed with that in small claims court.
With regard to your furniture?
Yes, with my property.
Furniture. All I'm interested in is furniture.
Furniture, yeah.
Were packed in her car. As far as I'm concerned, that's all I care. Your sister came over
Yes.
that night and packed things in her car, but she didn't
Right,
pack
yeah.
your bed in your car.
No.
Now, did you get your bed back?
No, I did not.
What other furniture didn't you get back?
It was my bed. I had this little desk, and also it wasn't furniture. The rest was just clothing and bathroom
Just the
belongings.
bed and the desk?
Yes.
Where'd you get the bed from?
I got the bed from a family friend. She gave me a bed, so I don't have a receipt.
Fine. And the desk?
A family friend, too.
Great. Okay. You owe us $650. Judgment for the plaintiff. We're done.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Who leaves and leaves $2,000 worth of things in a room after threatening everybody in the house?
She might be just a little mentally unstable to be renting out rooms to college students.
Just needed her gone and not deal with her anymore.
I'm just getting my own apartment.
She was a nightmare.
No craziness.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the manner of Gamble versus Griffin. Step forward.
Ashley Gamble is suing her former landlord, Michael Griffin, for the return of her security deposit. Michael is countersuing for defamation, slander, and an unpaid water bill.
Ms. Campbell, the defendant was your landlord.
Yes.
And he's no longer your landlord. You moved out and you want your security deposit. You owe for a substantial water bill.
Yes.
When did you move in and what kind of premises?
June 12, 2015, into a home, 2-bedroom.
What was your rent?
$750.
And how much security deposit did you put down?
$750.
So that's $750, that's at issue today.
Yes.
Why are you suing him for $1,500?
In the state of Pennsylvania, if he doesn't give me my security deposit back within 30 days, it doubles.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Not responsible for water.
We had a verbal agreement.
You don't have a verbal agreement, but you have a written lease. The four corners of the agreement form the entire agreement unless it is modified in writing and signed by both parties.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Ashley Gamble is suing her former landlord, Michael Griffin, for the return of her security deposit. Michael is countersuing for defamation, slander, and an unpaid water bill.
Now, you moved out on the 11th?
No, January 5th, 2016.
Was it a 6-month lease?
Yes.
Do you have a lease?
Yes.
I see it.
We actually agreed that I would move out on the 5th of January.
Begins June 12th, 2015, and ends June 11th, 2016. So tell me why you moved out January.
I was having difficulty. I lost my job. I was pregnant, so I was having difficulty paying rent. So we agreed that I would move out January 5th.
Do you have that someplace in writing?
Yes.
When did you advise Mr. Griffin that you wanted to move out earlier?
December 15th of 2015.
Did you pay rent in December?
Yes.
Did you pay him his judgment?
Yes, I have.
Is that correct?
It is.
Well, then you want to tell me why she doesn't have her $750 back.
Yes. I filed for eviction. We didn't agree on a 6-month lease at all. And upon me filing for eviction, waiting for her to receive the funds to pay me the settlement, a water bill came.
She's not responsible for water in your lease.
No. She was responsible for the water.
No, she's not responsible for water in your lease. Show me where. It says she's responsible for the following utilities: electricity and gas.
There was no gas in the house. It's just all electric.
Mr. Griffin, I assume that Ms. Gamble did not pay to have this residential agreement letter prepared, that your company prepared the lease.
Well, we had a verbal agreement that they would pay.
You don't have a verbal agreement when you have a written lease. Agreement formed the entire agreement unless it is modified in writing and signed by both parties.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Now, your lease provides that she is responsible for gas and electric. If there was no gas, then she's not responsible for gas. But she's not responsible for water.
Okay.
So now that you understand that, because all you had to do was look at the lease.
Right.
And it says gas and electric. Your counterclaim is for water.
My counterclaim, when she rented the house, the 3 things that she asked me, her and her boyfriend at the time, asked me what would they be paying, was water.
Listen to me.
I'm listening.
4 corners of the agreement that you prepared. Utilities she's responsible for are gas and electric. That's what it says.
Okay.
So you have to give her security deposit back. That's what the judgment says. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $750. Counterclaims dismissed. We're done.
So the defamation of character is dismissed?
Yes.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Former brothers-in-law tangle over repossession.
You agreed to take over was made in May. He lived up to the terms of the deal.
Did he have it out for their whole family?
That was not the last payment, and he knew that. There was an additional $347.69.
He made almost $7,000 worth of payments on this truck, and you hustled him.
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Justin Michelinas and his roommate Jennifer Clifton are suing Justin's ex-brother-in-law, Robert Harper, for the return of money paid for a truck, repair costs, and emotional distress.
Order. All rise.
Yeah, it's case number 177 on the calendar in the matter of Michelinas, Clifton versus Harper.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Have a seat, please.
Miss Clifton.
Yes.
How are you related to this case?
I'm his roommate. I was using his truck while we had it and it broke down, and I put the money in to repair it.
Sit down.
Okay.
This whole case is about you.
Okay.
The defendant was your brother-in-law.
Correct.
And you agreed to take over payments on his truck.
Right.
When was that? Month and year?
June or July of 2014.
And how many years left did you have to go on the loan?
Roughly 2.5 years, as far as I know.
Is that right?
No.
Did you pay directly to the bank, or did you pay him for the truck?
I paid it to the truck, or to the
Loan
truck
company?
Yeah.
And your first payment was when? June of 2014?
I did it on June, the beginning of June, and that's when I first paid out.
Okay.
The first
June
date.
of 2014. And when did you make your last payment?
I paid it off at the end of like May 1st, May 2nd, somewhere around
Of this year?
Yes.
When had you bought the truck, Mr. Harper? What year? What year?
I believe it was 2013.
What month in 2013, Mr. Harper?
I think February. but I can't be certain.
So you had the car for maybe 14 months.
Correct. My ex-wife drove the car.
You had the car for 14 months.
Correct.
And when he took over the payments, the car was in whose name? Your name and your ex-wife's name?
My name only.
I'd like to see that title.
Yes. Is evidence?
Title, please.
Thank you.
And can you show me proof, sir, that the last payment was made in May? That the car,
We knew that.
that the car was paid off?
Correct.
In May. It was not, did you make further payments on the car?
I paid the car off myself, and I have evidence to show that.
How much did you spend to pay
There was
the
an
car?
additional $347.69.
Just a second. When did you pay that, sir?
That was paid July
Of what?
1st of 2016.
Am I correct, Mr. Harper, that the monthly payments on the car were $347? How much were the monthly payments on the car, sir?
$277.32.
$277.
32.
Who did you buy the car from?
It was, I believe, Unity Acceptance was the lien holder, and I bought it from a used car lot.
Great, okay. Mr. Harper, is what you're telling me, sir, that for some reason, despite the fact that the plaintiff put in over $6,000 in this car during the time he drove it,
Correct.
that you believe that you were entitled to repossess the car, which you did, so you now have possession of the car?
Absolutely.
Don't give me an absolutely.
Okay.
I'm not interested in your absolutely, actually.
Okay.
That your payment of $347 entitles you to the possession of the car? Is that what you're telling me? Because for some reason, there was some $347 because he's got all the payments, I assume, to show me that he made from June of 2014 until May of 2016. I'm sure that he has those to show me. So is what
Your
you're...
Honor, also, it was repossessed, which I covered that money.
Just a second. It was repossessed when?
Yep. It was repossessed in November of 2014.
Just a second.
Yes.
In November of 2014,
Correct.
Listen to me, Mr. Michelinas, the car was repossessed 3 months after you took possession of it. So now what I want to see, sir, are your payments from the time you took it over. Okay, so go back into your payments. I want to see those because if Mr. Harper, what you're suggesting is that he didn't make the payments and therefore it was repossessed because you mentioned that in here, or you didn't make the payment and it was repossessed because you didn't make the payment, but the plaintiff did make the payment. That's a big difference. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
You understand. So is it that there was money owed on the truck before he took possession of it? Or was there money owed on the truck after he took possession of it and he was delinquent in his payment?
There were already late payments.
Ah, there you go. Just a second. When you had the truck.
That's correct.
All right.
So
there we go. Now, the $347
yes,
is from when you owed money on the truck or after he took possession of the truck? That's a very simple thing, sir. That's a very simple thing. Is it when you owed the $347 or when he had possession of the truck?
when he had possession of the vehicle.
So now I want to see your receipts for your payment because that's a big difference for me, Mr. Harper. That makes a difference as to whether I'm going to rip this up and going to make an order that the title is registered in his name. Do you understand?
Yes.
I want you to clearly understand that, or whether I dismiss his case. Because if he made all the payments when he had possession of the truck, he gets the truck, because that was your deal. Do you understand that? I don't care whether you like your ex-wife or don't like your ex-wife, but he made almost $7,000 worth of payments on this truck, and you hustled him. And I don't permit that. Do we understand each other?
Yes, we do.
Great.
Those are all money order and priority mail receipts from the post office.
Now, I have all of these things. He got money orders every single time we went. 277, 32, 277. Why you paid $347? Show me.
Here's the evidence right here. He was aware that not all the payments were made. I had tried contacting him from...
Just a minute. Explain that to me. He was aware that all payments weren't made by whom? He made his payments. He was aware that all payments weren't made by whom?
When he took possession of the vehicle.
Okay, now I understand.
And I gave him the receipt book that I had.
I want you to listen to me very carefully.
Okay.
Because this guy's a hustler. I want you to hold on to this thing while he signs the car over. If he doesn't sign it over, I'm taking it back.
Okay.
And then I'm going to issue an order because they both agreed to that. And the order is going to return the car to him along with reissuing him a title. And, sir, I want you to understand this also. Where do you come from?
I come from here in California.
You come from here from California. Yeah. And you haven't received any fees yet? Any money for a period?
No.
You won't. Do you understand? And you're going to lose the car.
Okay.
And you're going to lose the car. Because what you did was hustle him, and it wasn't right. And it wasn't right. I don't care whether you were mad at her, whether you were not mad at her, whether it was acrimonious. You made a deal with him. He lived up to the terms of the deal.
I had to help him.
They repossessed the car because you didn't make the payments. That's why you paid for
No, they
everything.
repossessed the car because he was late with his payments.
Bird, did you understand? Did you understand what I said? Show him where he signs. If he doesn't sign, just take it back. Bye.
Okay. Just help me out here. Isn't that where he's supposed to sign as the registered owner, and he's transferring it? Signed it twice. That's his signature both times. Looks like it's already ready for him.
He signed it already.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I will issue an order that I have determined that the car rightfully belongs to you. You now have the title. Then send a marshal to go and get the car. If it's turned over in good condition, great. That's the way it should be turned over. If it's not, there are consequences to that.
And later today,
I loaned Mr. Jefferson $1,600 with a $400 interest.
There's no $400 interest.
Well, he said it.
I am here to tell you there's no $400 interest on a $1,600 loan.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Justin Michelinas says his ex-brother-in-law, Robert Harper, scammed him on the sale of a truck.
Okay. There's a lien holder. This car is already July 31st, 2016. That's your handwriting, Robert Harper.
That's correct, but that was the lien holder signing it over to me.
I certify under penalties of perjury that the below releases interest in the vehicle. That's you. You signed it. You released interest, and all you have to get, sir, listen to me carefully, all you have to get is a letter from Unit Acceptance that this car has been paid off. Do you understand?
I do.
Then go get it. This is yours. Give it to him.
The money orders that I mailed to them had Robert's name on them.
Just listen to me.
Okay.
I don't care.
Okay.
I will issue an order that I have determined that the car rightfully belongs to you. You now have the title.
Okay.
He signed over the title. I don't have to get him to sign over a thing. Do you understand?
Absolutely. Thank you.
And we'll get you a copy of the order for the lien holder to indicate that you need a letter from them that there is no longer a lien.
Okay.
Right? Then send a marshal to go and get the car. And any and all fees or anything else are going to be withheld until that car is turned over to you. Do you understand? If it's turned over in good condition, great. That's the way it should be turned over. If it's not, there are consequences to that.
Okay.
Mr. Harper understands the consequences to that.
Okay.
We're done.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I think I got swindled.
I feel very happy that she decided to make... He's been intimidating my whole life.
Probably needs the money.
Rob was trying to get back at me because they left him.
Absolutely never again.
Stay away from brother-in-laws.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Shepard versus Jefferson. Step forward.
Serena Shepard is suing her ex-boyfriend, Brian Jefferson, for an unpaid loan.
Miss Shepard, how long were you living with Mr. Jefferson?
For 7 months.
Were you working?
Yes, I was.
Were you living in his apartment or your apartment?
I was living in his apartment at that time.
And what kind of work was he doing?
He's a disabled vet. He doesn't work.
Do you get a pension, Social Security,
Yes, ma'am, I
disability?
do. And she was not working at the time that was a false statement she made.
Okay. Well, let's find out, but don't interrupt. Who were you working for?
I was working with Jack in the Box.
Located where?
And then I lost my job. In Warrenton, Missouri, where I live at.
Okay. You lived with him for 7 months. And how many of those 7 months were you working at Jack in the Box?
I don't know exactly how many months that I worked there, but I did work there for some time.
Okay. Then I believe you.
Yes.
Good. Okay. It is your claim that you came into some money.
Yes, I
into a
did.
settlement while you were living with Mr. Jefferson. And what did you come into the money for?
I got a check for $20,000 for 12 years.
Back child support for whom?
My daughter.
How old is she?
She's 12.
Where was she living?
She was living with my mom.
How long had she been living with your mother?
She had been living with my mom the whole time. I had just got out of prison last year, May the 1st, 2015.
So she had been living with your mother for 12 years?
No, on and off with my mom and me.
Well, how long were you in prison?
For 27 and a half months.
Okay, and this child support of $20,000, who was it from?
It was from the dad, Richard. She met him February of this year for the first time, and he took us out, and he went to the bank, and he drew out some money, and I saw that he had almost $200,000, so I got upset because he owed like $22,000 back child support, and so I called child support and told them, and they put a lien on his account, and 60 days later, or actually 70 days later, they gave me the $20,000.
And what did you do with the money?
I got us a car, I got us an apartment.
Just a second, got who a car?
I got me and my daughter a car.
Your daughter's 12?
Yes, for us to have transportation. It was for me and her, an apartment, so I can move her out of my mom's house and to live with me, and that's what she is now.
How much did you spend on the car?
I spent $2,700 for the car. I bought furniture. I bought us brand new beds. I bought us TVs.
How much money of that $20,000 did you put away for your daughter's future?
I did not, and I made a mistake on that.
You sure did.
I did.
Because all that money was hers.
Yes, it was.
Not yours. And how much did you give to your mother for taking care of her for 3 years?
I gave my mother $1,000, and I have other kids too. I gave them money too. And then I gave Mr. Jefferson $1,600. I loaned Mr. Jefferson $1,600 with a $400 interest.
There's no $400 interest.
Well, he said it.
I am here to tell you there's no $400 interest on a $1,600 loan.
Okay.
Even if it was a loan.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
If you don't put that $1,600 in a bank account for your daughter, because that's what the money was for, child support, not a new car for you, not new furniture, child support.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Serena Shepard says ex-boyfriend Brian Jefferson owes for a loan.
Okay, what did you use the $1,600 for, sir? And what was the purpose of the $1,600?
I had bills stacked up because I'd been taking care of her for nearly a year.
Just a second. She was living in that apartment.
I actually moved from where I was living into this apartment in attempts to accommodate Mrs. Shepard. Because I moved to Missouri from California. I was raising an autistic son by myself. It was time for him to learn how to respect women, and there was...
I asked you a simple question.
I apologize, Your Honor.
She lived with you for 7 months.
Yes.
Did you move into that apartment together?
She moved with me. It wasn't together. She moved with me, yes.
Can I say something? He lived with his mom. He lived in the basement. He hated living with his mom.
I don't care whether he hated her or not. All I'm asking you is...
He didn't accommodate me.
You moved into an apartment together, is my question.
I lived with my mom at that time.
And
I was over his house a lot.
You're not following me because you don't know where I'm going. You're trying, you know, I see where your head is at from the answers to your previous questions. All I asked you was, did you move into this apartment at the same time together? I don't care if you were living at your mother and he was living in the basement of his mother. Did you find an apartment and move into it together?
Yes.
What?
Yes.
Yes. And in whose name is the lease?
Mine, Your Honor.
In the 7 months that you lived with Mr. Jefferson, did you pay any rent?
I paid for the Wi-Fi 7 months because I was getting $350 in food stamps every month.
No, just a second. So you provided the food stamps?
Yes.
She provided the food stamps, which actually we provide, and the Wi-Fi?
Yes, Your Honor.
And the cable.
What I want you to tell me is how much was the rent?
$600 when I moved into the apartment.
And you lived in this apartment together for how many months? How many months did you live in this?
4 or 5.
How many months did you live in this apartment?
I don't know. Is it about 4 or 5 months, like you said.
Great, 4 or 5. And how much were the Wi-Fi bills?
They varied. I got some of the payment on this statement from my card.
What I would like you to tell me, sir, is What discussion was there when she received this $20,000 and she was feeling very flush, none of which went into her daughter's college bank account? What was the discussion about the $1,600?
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Have you been cheated? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
What was the discussion about the $1,600?
I need to pay some bills.
No.
Can I get some money? Yeah.
Okay. Is that what you said?
Yes, ma'am.
I need to pay some bills. Can I get some money?
She said, how much? I said, about $1,500. That's what it was, and she gave it to me.
What bills?
Truck payment. I had fallen behind on truck payment, and electric bill. It's combined, gas and electric out there. And so that and a few other miscellaneous things that I wanted to get my son some clothes and a few things like that. Bought a new coffee maker.
I'm awarding her $1,600. And of the $1,600, Ms. Shepard, I'm going to make a very, very solid statement to you.
Your Honor.
If you don't put that $1,600 in a bank account for your daughter, because that's what the money was for, child support, not a new car for you, not new furniture, not a TV. That's what it was for, child support. Child support. So if you bought yourself a lot of new toys, what you should do with this $1,600 is put it in a bank account, and it should be in trust for your daughter.
Yes,
We're
ma'am.
done.
Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
If somebody gives you something and then wants it back, you're not supposed to be able to get it back.
I am happy. I got my money.
If I give you a sandwich and you eat it, then I want it back. Give it here.
I ain't worried about no sandwich. I don't need no sandwich from him. Sandwiches. 1,600 of them.
Relationship. That was over a long time ago.
My daughter, I'm going to take Judge Judy advice and put that up for her because she deserves it.
Something happened in June.
He told me I had 24 hours to get out of the house.
Did his tenant corrupt his daughter?
Jackie solicited my child to adults for sex. She asked her for drugs.
But why did this teen keep it a secret for so long?
She asked us if we wanted some alcohol.
She offered you drugs before?
Yes. She pulled out a bag of ecstasy out of her bra.
She offered you drugs, and you didn't tell your father about it.
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
19-year-old Jacqueline Adams is suing her former landlord, Richard Nordquist, for the return of rent and security deposit, stolen money, and an unlawful eviction.
Order. All rise.
This is case number 153 on the calendar in the matter of Adams versus Nordquist.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Ladies, have a seat, please.
It's in his home?
Yes.
When did you rent the room?
March.
March what?
8th, I believe.
When did you move in?
March 10th.
And what was your rent?
$550.
And how much money did you give him?
I gave him $950.
$950.
$400 deposit.
So far, is that correct?
Correct.
Was the $550 for March?
Yes.
Did you live there in April?
Yes.
And did you pay him his rent?
Yes.
$550.
Yes.
So far, correct?
Correct.
And in May?
Yes.
Paid him his rent?
Yes.
Something happened in June. Want to tell me what happened?
I was going to move out because he was selling the house to a family or whatever. So I was going to move out.
When were you selling the house?
I decided I wanted to try to sell my house early June.
And when did you tell Miss Adams?
I told her that about the time she put her notice in that I was thinking about selling my home.
Okay, go ahead.
So I decided, because I was going to live there through summer, but then I said no because he was going to raise it to $700, and I'm a college student, so I can't really afford that. And then that's when I told him, and then we agreed that I could move out the next time that I paid my rent, which would be July 10th. But before I went to the Bahamas in June, we decided that I'd just move out July 1st because I was okay with that, and I was already looking on Craigslist for another home. I get back from the Bahamas and went back the 12th, the night of the 12th, but it was
But you had paid June's rent?
No, not yet.
Okay, you got back on June 13th.
Yes, and then that day I went and cashed my check and paid rent and everything else.
So you paid June's rent?
Yes, but it was $367 instead of $550.
Why?
Because I was moving out July 1st, not...
And you had moved in on March 10th?
Yes.
Okay, so you prorated it?
Yes.
And he agreed with that?
Yeah.
And he accepted the rent?
Yes.
Accepted the money that you gave him?
Yes.
Did you accept the money that she gave you in June?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then 2 days later, after that, he asked if I was going to be home, and I was like, probably not, because I was planning on staying at my friend Bree's house. But then I was like, no, I'm just going to go home, because something told me, like, I needed to go home. And then after that, he woke me up the next day, and he told me I had 24 hours to get out of the house.
On what date?
The 17th.
Did you move out?
I grabbed a bag full of clothes, and I told him, okay. He said I could finish packing my room, and that's what I did.
Okay. So now what you're suing him for is the return of your $400, your security deposit, the rent that you paid him for the latter part of June, and for unlawful eviction.
Yes.
Because he evicted you during a time you had already paid rent, and you were scheduled to move out in July.
Yes.
Okay. Ball's in your court. I absolutely...
That's not what occurred.
Because I'm looking at your answer and your counterclaim. So what happened on June 15th?
June 15th? Well, I would like to go prior to June 3rd of what happened led to her moving out early.
Go ahead.
Okay. I was in Santa Cruz with my girlfriend and my other daughter, and Paige asked if she can go to my house because she was visiting her parent, her mom.
Who is this?
Paige Nordquist. And
How old
Haley.
are you?
15.
And
Okay.
she said, can I go to the house to swim? Jackie will be there. I go, only if Mom's okay with it and if Jackie's there, because she seemed responsible. And so I said, it's okay. That night, June 3rd, Jackie solicited my child to adults for sex. She asked her for drugs, Norco.
Well, you weren't there, so you don't know that at all. So that's...
No, but they were there.
They can tell me
Okay.
what they want to tell me, but you can't tell me.
All right.
Who's going to speak? Okay. Your first name is?
Paige.
Paige. You went to your father's house on what day?
June 3rd.
Who did you go there with?
Haley Anderson. My mom dropped me off.
Anybody else show up at the house?
No.
Just the two of you?
Yeah.
And what about the plaintiff? Was she there?
Yes.
Anybody else other than the plaintiff?
No.
Okay, so it's the two of you.
Yes.
How old are you?
19.
Okay, so she's there, you're there, and?
She came home under
Look
the
here.
influence. Sorry. She came home under the influence.
Of what?
Drunk. She asked us if we wanted
Just
some
a second.
alcohol.
She came home under the influence of drugs. How did you know that?
She has offered me drugs before.
No. So she offered you drugs before?
Yes.
Is that what you're telling me? When did she offer you drugs before?
I don't remember what day it was, but she pulled out a bag of ecstasy out of her bra.
So this was before June 3rd?
Yes, but
Before
I
you-
never...
Just before June 3rd, before you asked your father if you could go to the house with a friend, and before your father said to you, yes, you can go there if Jackie is there, because she seemed responsible. So that was before that time that she offered you drugs, and you didn't tell your father about it.
Because I was scared of her.
Whatever your reason, you didn't tell your father about it, so that you knew that Jackie was going to be there,
Yes.
and that your father felt that she was the responsible one,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Okay. So now you're there on June 3rd, and
She came home and asked us if we wanted some alcohol. She said she was getting a bottle that night. We were all at the kitchen table.
okay, and what? Just a second. And what did you say?
No.
No. So why didn't you call your mother and have her come pick you up? I'm just curious.
I don't know.
What do you mean you don't know?
I just didn't think to do that, really.
Why not? I mean, you're 15 years old. How old are you?
16.
16. You tell me that somebody has offered you illegal drugs before. Despite that fact, and despite that you didn't want to tell that to your father, you initiated a call to go to the house knowing that Jackie would be there with your friend. Right? And before you went to the house with your friend, did you tell your friend about the prior encounter with Jackie?
Yes.
And she went too. And I assume she didn't tell her mother. You live with your mother?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes is the answer.
Yes, and I did tell my mom.
And your mother let you go anyway?
Well, I was at her...
You mean you... Stand up. Is what you're telling me you told your mother that your friend told you that they were going to an unsupervised house with someone who had offered her drugs before, and your mother said, fine, have a nice swim? Is that what you're telling me?
No, I was at her house. I didn't let my mom know that we were going. We thought we were just going to go over there and go swim for the day, and we didn't. And we just ended up staying the night.
Sit. Sit. Did your daughter allegedly tell you about these events?
She told me, because she was with her mom for another week, I would say approximately June 15th, 16th. And then after...
No. June 3rd to June 15th is more than a week.
Well, she was with her mom, because I was in the, Santa Cruz until the 5th. And
Right, then you come home on the 5th.
Right.
And what you're telling me is you didn't speak to your daughter?
She was with her mom on vacation at her mom's house for a week, because her mom's allowed 2 weeks of summer.
Just a second. I just asked you a question. You and her mother live in relatively the same area?
Yeah.
Yes. Are you telling me you came home from Santa Cruz and didn't speak to your daughter for 10 days?
No, we spoke. She just said she had something to talk to me, and I said, okay, do you want to do it in person or on the phone?
Oh, Alfred.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Your counterclaim says there was a lot of emotional distress based on the fact that your 15-year-old daughter and a 16-year-old friend were offered drugs and alcohol by some old person.
Older.
Her friend is older than she is. Would you call her an older person if she offered her alcohol?
And later today,
So she kept it in regular service.
Yes, Your Honor.
And she gave you all these things.
Yes, maybe she forgot to take it away when she turned over the documents.
Nah, she wouldn't forget.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Jacqueline Adams says former landlord Richard Nordquist owes for the return of rent and security deposit, stolen money, and an unlawful eviction. Richard is countersuing for emotional distress.
You owe her security deposit back, which is $400. You owe her rent back, which is another $400. Where did you go when you left?
I went and I stayed at my friend's house.
And where are you staying now?
I'm not really. I'm, like, homeless. Like, I can't live with my father because I'm a foster youth, so I get AB 12. So I'm, like, legit homeless. So throughout the night, I'm up walking around. Throughout daytime, I'm finding somewhere to sleep.
Well, how do you support yourself?
I don't, unless every month when I get my AB 12, that's when I pay all my bills.
What's AB 12?
I'm a foster youth. I aged out of foster care. So, yeah.
I'm awarding you your $400 security deposit back, $400, which is a round number, for the rent that you took from her for the month of June, and another $400 for illegal eviction. That's $1,200. You have a counterclaim, which is nonsense. Your counterclaim says that there was a lot of emotional distress based on the fact that your 15-year-old daughter and a 16-year-old friend were offered drugs and alcohol by some old person. Call her an older person if she offered her alcohol?
She's an adult and they're minors.
Yeah, okay. Counterclaim's dismissed. We're done. You believe her? Perfect.
Okay.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I'm happy that she did, like, see that I was telling the truth.
She was going to move, and so there was no eviction.
I don't drink, so, or do drugs. So it's just like, okay, yeah, definitely, that's me.
It's a joke.
He's the joke.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Concepcion versus McMurdoch-Dixon. Step forward.
Joselito Concepcion is suing Carmen McMurdoch and her daughter Dana Dixon for defrauding him when they traded cars.
Mr. Concepcion, you traded a car with the defendants. You traded an Acura for their SUV.
Yes, Your Honor.
Before you made that trade, you didn't know each other. You had seen their SUV parked with a sign for sale. You wanted a different car. They were about the same price, so you bartered at $4,500. And that was on what date, sir?
March 1st this year.
And when you traded the cars, Miss McMurdoch gave you all the paperwork for the car, the history of the mechanical history, when it was serviced, etc., was with the car. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
And when you according to your complaint, the odometer showed about 85,000 miles.
Yes, Your Honor.
And then you saw a piece of paper that came with all the paperwork that Miss McMurdoch gave you that said earlier, a year earlier, the car had 94,000 miles.
Yes, Your Honor.
So you want your money back or your car back because you say that they defrauded you.
Yeah, they scammed me.
Just
both of them.
No, they didn't. First of all, I would like to see the paperwork that you're referring to, that they gave you.
Yes.
You didn't find this on your own.
Yes.
They gave it to you.
Yes.
Good.
That's the one.
Yes.
tampered? I'm probably looking right at it, where it says what the mileage is on the car.
The yellow highlight.
Oh, right there, 94,020.
Okay, so this is license and mileage. It says 94020, and that was last July.
Yes, Your
right.
Honor.
And you had taken the car in for servicing.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, when did you purchase the car?
September 2012.
And you 4 years later. Now I'd like to see all the paperwork you had on the car.
These are contract. This is the...
Fine. I see everything that you're telling me. So this is Sears, and when she got the car, it said 90,000 miles.
Yes, Your Honor.
So she kept it in regular service.
Yes, Your Honor.
And she gave you all these things.
Yes, maybe she forgot to take it away when she turned over the documents.
No. Why would she do that? If she was trying to scam you, sir, she wouldn't forget. If she was trying to scam you, she would take away any evidence.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Looks like you altered the odometer on your SUV you traded to me. She said, no.
She's denying that she tampered with the odometer.
Or somebody could have done it for her.
Mr. Concepcion, maybe you tampered with the odometer.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Joselito Concepcion says Carmen McMurdoch and daughter Dana Dixon rolled back the odometer on a car they traded him.
Okay, you think that these two ladies turned back an odometer? And that year of tire rotation and everything else, which says what the exact mileage is?
The reason I bought the car was the odometer when it was only 84,000. For the age of the car, 1986, wow.
Well, it was closer to 85,000 miles, sir, than it was to 84,000 miles. And you have something that she gave you that says there were 94,000 miles, so it's an additional 10,000 miles to what you thought you were buying, right? So the question is, she bought the car with a certain number of miles on the car. Who turned back an odometer?
There was no odometer turning back. Maybe because it's an old car, it's like almost 30 years old. So the little glass that covers the mileage thing is kind of like, I would say, a little foggy, so maybe the mechanic read it wrong, or...
No, it says 85,413 miles. So you put on, Mr. Concepcion, according to you, 1,000 miles on the car from the day you bought it.
Yes.
So now I'd like you to tell me when you looked at the paperwork.
After 3 weeks of when I bought the car...
Just a sec. So 3 weeks after you bought the car...
I was only able to review the document she turned me over.
So once you saw that there was a discrepancy in the miles, why didn't you put on 1,000 miles on the car?
When I found
according to the odometer, the picture that you just gave me, and the bill of sale that you had, from the day you purchased it, you put on over 1,000 miles on the car. And I'm asking you, if you saw these things within a few weeks and you looked through the paperwork, why did you continue to drive the car?
After 3 weeks, I drove it to Alpine. I drove it to a Sequan just to test drive it. After maybe 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Then when I found out what she did on the car, because I was trying to do the upgrades on the car, then when I look at the records, wait, why he said like 94,000 in here?
Just a second. I got that. I asked you, why did you keep driving the car and put another 1,000 miles on it?
No, after putting driving for like over less than 1,000 miles, I stopped driving it. I and I called her, Mrs. Carmen. Looks like you altered the odometer on the SUV you traded to me. She said, no, I got evidence that she told me it is not only 1 or 2 pieces of receipts that
all that she gave you.
Yeah.
She gave you everything at the time of the sale.
But she's denying that she didn't tamper it. How come?
Just a second. She's denying.
Have done it for her.
Just a second.
Somebody who's knowledgeable on doing that.
Mr. Concepcion, maybe you tampered with the odometer.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Are you the victim of a scam? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Mr. Concepcion, maybe you tampered with the odometer.
That could not be possible. I don't want to be jailed. That's illegally. That's illegal. That's why I'm
What do
here.
you, just a second. What do you do for a living?
I'm a server.
A server. What do you do?
I'm a waitress as well.
Okay. Either one of you have any mechanical training?
No.
No, this car always went to a shop or a mechanic.
These people did not turn back the odometer. They gave you all the paperwork that they had. If you didn't want the car, you should have looked at the paperwork and brought it back. Instead, you drove it for 1,000 miles, Mr. Concepcion. Let me ask you a question. Is the car running now?
Yeah, it's running. It's parked in our street.
So you're driving it?
No, it's just right on. I don't have I live in an apartment, so I only got allowed to one car in our apartment complex. So it's got to be parked outside. But
That's
since
fine.
then,
what I'm saying to you is, if it's parked on the street, you have to move it so that you are driving it.
yeah, driving from like 5 floors away.
Yeah. Mr. Concepcion, I am unimpressed. You bought a 30-year-old car. You can't... That's the dress that he made for you.
Yes, Your Honor.
This bride was bursting at the seams.
I kept telling him I need to spend it because I'm a heavy-set person. When I looked at it, I'm like, it don't even have a shape to fit me.
She let you know that the dress had to have a little give to it.
Yes.
I just have to see.
And after closer examination, this dressmaker still won't give an inch.
My job first is to just take the measurements.
No.
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Waddell Newman is suing dressmaker Corey McKinney for the return of money he paid for a wedding dress and punitive damages.
Order. All rise.
Now it's case number 180 on the calendar in the matter of Newman versus McKinney.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Ladies, have a seat, please.
Mr. Newman, you want your money back from the defendant who made a wedding dress for your wife. And the crux of your complaint is that not only it wasn't exactly what you wanted or what your wife wanted, but that it was so poorly made that it didn't fit her. It wasn't a custom-made one, a whole bunch of other nonsense, which you're not going to get. You want aggravation and stress and the cost of the new dress because you didn't use the dress that the defendant made. So we're going to restrict your claim to what you paid the defendant.
Okay.
Now, how did you find the defendant?
Well, Your Honor, myself and my wife, Felicia here, we got married July 30th of this past year, and we had been searching around for wedding dresses and nothing that she had really liked. So friends of ours had instructed us about Mr. McKinney's shop.
Had recommended him.
Had recommended him to us.
People who you believed had used him to make wedding dresses before?
Well, not necessarily wedding dresses. It's just that he was more or less a seamstress and black proprietor in our area of South Bend. So I said, well, let's just give him a try. It can't hurt to try, to go over there and see what we can do for us.
So when you went in to see him, you went in to see him on what date?
Well, we first went in there, it was about the week before Father's Day. So I'd say about the 11th of June that we actually went in there to see him.
Okay, so you were giving him 6 weeks to make a dress?
Yes.
And did you bring him photographs of the dress that you liked?
No, well, she already had an idea of what she wanted.
An idea is very hard to read.
Yes, it is.
Okay, so you either bring him a photograph, you look up on the internet the dress that you like, or you have him make a sketch of the dress.
And he had different styles that he was showing her at the time.
Okay, so now the next thing I want you to do is to show me the styles that your then fiancé selected. I need to see the styles that your fiancé selected. Do you have them?
Yes.
I'd like to take a look at them. You don't mind him showing them to me, do you?
No.
So you printed those, you showed her those styles, and from these styles, she selected something.
Yes. So,
okay. Would you stand up, please?
So that first picture is
Shh, don't tell me. I assume this is what you made.
Yes, that's what we made.
And these are the photographs that you showed her.
Yes, that's the top
You
part.
see these photographs?
Yes.
You saw this photograph before?
Yes.
Okay, one that you selected with some alterations.
Yes.
And you saw this photograph. That's the bottom.
Okay, yes.
Right, so you saw that photograph. Now this one is different because this one has a little sleeve. Did you want a little sleeve?
Yes.
Okay, so you wanted a little sleeve. That has no sleeve, you wanted a little sleeve. That sleeve doesn't come down about as much as this does. I don't know whether you discussed that. Okay, and then this is a photograph of the back.
Yes.
That you, okay. And this is the back of the dress that he made for you?
Yes.
Okay. So at some point in July, he calls you and tells you that the dress is ready to come in for a fitting, right?
Yes, he did.
And that was about July 18th or 19th.
Yes, but he told me to give him 2 weeks, the dress would be ready.
Just a second. You went in July 18th or 19th for a fitting.
Right.
And how far had the dress gotten?
Like that.
Just like this?
Yes.
Okay. And you tried it on?
Yes.
And tell me what happened when you tried it on.
Okay, but when I first looked at it, I didn't like it because I had asked him that I wanted the spandex material. He told me that it was going to be that, but when we looked at it, he said he had to get on whoever made it, because I kept telling him I needed spandex because I'm a heavy-set person, and I know ordering it through the mail, it'll be a problem trying to get it ready for my wedding. So when he told me that, I'm like, okay, I'll come in and look at it. And when I looked at it, I'm like, it don't even have a shape to fit me. So he said the seamstress will help, fix it for me.
Okay, so what you wanted was, you wanted a spandex material. Now, had she told you she wanted a spandex material?
Well, she
Yes.
said she wanted a stretchy material.
Stretchy material.
Yes. And I have papers here from the people that made it, and it is describing...
I'd like to see it.
Yes.
So she said she wanted a stretchy material. I gathered that from both your complaint and your answer that she...
Yes.
In that paperwork, it shows you the second one. It's got stretchy material in it.
Now, excuse me, Your Honor.
Just a second. I just have to see. Well, the outside can't be stretchy because the outside is lace, so that's clear. So the underside has to have a little bit of a stretch to it.
Now, at the same time, Your Honor...
Don't talk to me while I'm moving.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I can't walk and chew gum at the same time.
Not the outside of the dress, probably the inside.
No, I understand. Mr. McKinney, that's not stretch satin. I'm telling you, the inside of that dress is not the kind of material that has give to it.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't care what this note says from whomever, which is really...
So around the hips?
Isn't it the same satin all over? I went underneath the dress to the lining.
Probably the hip area is where...
What do you mean, probably the hip area?
Underneath would be the stretchy material, not the top part of the bust. You need stretchy to be here, around the waist.
No.
Oh, so what I'm asking you is, did you use one fabric or two different fabrics?
Just take the measurements.
No. You're going to answer my question. What? I assumed, having had these things done myself, that you use one fabric to make the underside of the dress. And is what you're suggesting to me that you use two different fabrics?
Two different fabrics.
Okay, I'm going to go back.
The stretchy needs to be hip area.
So you used a different fabric because clearly, this is not stretch at all. So what you're suggesting is under here, you want to come over here, sir? You could turn this thing around, you can do whatever you want to show me that the bottom part is stretch.
I'm not sure how they get it up here. Oh, here it is. So here,
Hold on. No way. Now, you know that's not stretch material, sir. I know what a spandex material, what a stretch material is. That's not a stretch material. You can go like this, but that's not a material that has give to it. Okay, but you made the dress, and it didn't fit you.
Right.
And Mr. McKinney acknowledged that it didn't fit you when you came in, so he said his seamstress would come in to fit it again, which is usually what you do when you make bridal dresses. You go back sometimes for 4 fittings before it gets right. So you went back again.
A week before the wedding.
Okay,
and when I went in there, she looked at it, she said the dress was not measured for me. And I told her, that's what I told him. So when she tried to do it, she tried to take it out. It even got tighter when I tried it back on again.
Just a second. So it didn't fit.
Right.
Well, when you went in there on the 18th or 19th, which seamstress came out and fitted you?
He didn't have one then.
Well, did he pin it? Did somebody pin it?
Yes,
he did.
Yes.
So he did the pinning.
Yes.
Of where you wanted it
to fit across here.
How was it?
It was too tight. I couldn't even sit down in it. That's why they had to take it out on the side.
Okay, so he had to release a little bit.
Yes.
And he put in some things to release it.
No, she
Some
just
pins.
took it out. Yes, the pins.
Pins to show the
Yes.
seamstress where it had to be released around your hips. Was that done when you came back a week before? Had it been released around your hips?
3 days before the wedding, yes.
It had been released. So you could sit down?
I couldn't sit down.
Could or could not?
Couldn't.
Could not?
Right, could not.
Even a week before?
Yes.
Top?
The top wouldn't even fit me. It's like the bra right here. It's too close in and I'm wide-chested. So they had to try to pull that up and it looked like it didn't get done neither.
Okay. And a week before the wedding, who was there? The seamstress or Mr. McKinney, or both?
Both.
Did you have a conversation with Mr. McKinney?
Yes.
Tell me what you said to him and what did he say to you?
He had asked me, well, the seamstress is here. So when we looked at this, the seamstress looked at it, she told him, she said, there's really nothing I can do with this dress. And I said, that's what I told him.
Just a second. And what did he say?
He walked away. He was helping somebody else in the store and left her with me.
Did you take the dress?
No, I left it.
Is this the seamstress?
No, that's his
Where's
mother.
the seamstress?
Oh, she's not here.
Who is this?
This is my mom. She was in the store when she initially came in the store.
I don't need her. I need the seamstress.
No, she was here.
I need the seamstress, not your mom.
Yeah, but when she left with the dress, I don't know what her and the seamstress...
We never took the dress.
Just a second. She didn't take the dress.
But the seamstress took it with her, and she was there when they left. The seamstress took the dress with her, and they
She's supposed to have been fixing it for me.
Is that a week before the wedding?
It was...
1 week before the wedding.
Yes.
And what happened?
And she didn't get to it until 3 days before the wedding when she had me to come in.
Come in where?
In her shop.
So you went to a different shop?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Did you make this dress or did somebody else? Your shop, but you subcontracted to somebody else to make the dress?
Yes.
Who took the measurements, the initial measurements?
I take the initial...
Just a second. You took the initial measurements.
Yes.
Now it's all coming together.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today,
what I did see was when she made the turn, this young lady came over into our lane and hit her wheel well.
Did you see this lady there that day?
I did.
She says that you came over into her lane.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Waddell Newman says dressmaker Corey McKinney owes for a substandard wedding dress and for the stress it caused.
Now, you took the initial measurements, handed it over to somebody else.
Yes.
And you paid $650, right?
$750.
$700. I have a paper right here.
I'd like to see it.
I do have two.
I just want to see what you paid.
Oh, she paid $700.
Oh, no, that's
the
not
$750 one was after he came in and got some shoes. He came in a week
dress.
before the 30th
Just to
and
say, all
asked
I
me
want to
for a
see is the
second
bill.
receipt.
All I want to be is the bill. This says shoes, Felicia, wedding dress, catalog, wedding dress, $750.
But you can see
Just
what the
for the
payments were.
plaintiff. You took the wrong measurements. You didn't get her what she wanted because there was a spandex material. You subcontracted the dress to somebody else. And then when it didn't work out, you said, you take care of it. Went back to her shop. I don't know whether you paid the lady or not. You didn't do the right thing. They get their money back. We're done. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
They came in a couple weeks before their wedding. I did everything I could.
In all actuality, we never probably should have went to him.
To make her happy.
She was very upset. I mean, it was so emotional those last 2 weeks. I mean, she cried every night.
And I just couldn't make her happy.
Oh, it was bad. It hurted. But I'm so glad that the outcome came good.
Well, just can't please everybody.
Hey, the bride is always right. You know you got to make that woman happy now.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Cedrone versus Mushir. Step forward.
18-year-old Amanda Cedrone and her father, David, are suing motorist Aisha Mushir for an accident on the road.
Mr. Cedrone, I assume that you are here, sir, because you are the registered owner of this car. Is that
Yes.
correct? You were not there at the time of the accident.
At the time of the accident, no.
You can have a seat. Mr. Cedrone, you had borrowed your father's car, or was this your car?
It's my father's car.
That you had borrowed that day?
Yes.
And you were saying that it was her fault. You want her to pay for the damage to your car, which was not terribly significant. And she says she had minimal damage to her car. The time that you were driving the car, Ms. Mushir, you're an Uber driver.
Yes, I am.
Okay, and you had a passenger in your car.
Yes.
And is this your passenger?
Yes.
Had she been a regular passenger of yours? Had you driven her before?
No, I just get calls and
I know, but you had not met her before that,
No.
the day of the accident. On what day was the accident, Ms. Cedrone?
February 2nd, 2016.
Is that your map?
Yes.
Want to go over and show me? What time of the day was it?
It was about 12:15 p.m.
Where were you going?
I was on my way to school.
Okay.
Okay, so I was on my way to school. I go there 3 days a week, every week. I was on Perry Hall Boulevard in the left-hand turn lane. I was at a red light waiting for my green arrow. The arrow turned green, and I had proceeded to make my turn into the left-hand turn lane of Rossville Boulevard. And I saw the defendant was making a right on red, and she was inching out a little bit, so I intentionally stayed in my lane, the lane closest to me, and then she made the right on red, and then she came into my lane and hit me.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Well, I'll take a look at it. Maybe that could change my mind.
He also told the officer that she turned on the yellow light. But then when her dad got there, he said, no, Amanda, it was green.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Amanda Cedrone says fellow motorist Aisha Mushir owes for a car accident.
Now, what I'm asking you is, she had an arrow permitting her to turn?
Yes, she was in the
turn lane.
In the turn lane, yes.
And you were making a right turn?
Yeah.
And you can make a right turn on red?
Yes.
And you were making a right turn on red?
Yeah.
Okay. You want to go over to your board?
Okay.
So what you are saying is, now I'm looking at the photographs, what you're saying is she came into your lane and she says you came into her lane?
Yes, she came.
Okay. But we agree on this. We agree that you were making your right turn on red.
Yes.
And we agree that you had the right to make a left turn.
Yes.
Okay. Now, were you watching what was going on around you, or were you busy doing something else? You were in the back seat?
I was in the back seat.
Tell me your name.
Sharon Ellerby.
Miss Ellerby, do you remember the point where the cars collided?
Yes, I did.
Did you get out of the car?
I did not.
Did you hear any
No, I did not. What I did see was when she made the turn, I noticed that this young lady came over into our lane and hit her wheel well.
So you're certain that the plaintiff,
yes,
when she made the turn wide?
Wide, correct.
Okay. Do we have a police report?
The police couldn't take a report because...
They didn't, so they did not. Did anyone take a photograph of exactly where the cars were at the time of the collision?
I do not have a photograph. I have a video of my perspective of driving it, and then I have pictures of the damages of the car, but I don't have a picture of the road.
Well, that's actually the most important aspect of this case.
I have pictures of the road.
At the time of the accident?
Not at the time of the accident.
Well, I don't want you to go back. I mean, is there a skid mark? Was there any debris? That would be
nothing
telling.
like that.
Okay. By the way, did you see this lady there that day?
I did.
Okay. So she was just a passenger in the car. She was the witness. She says that you came over into her lane.
I had the right of way. I had a left arrow, and I made that turn, and I saw her inching out to make the right on red, so I stayed in the lane closest to me, just in case she did come into my lane, and she did. But I have pictures to show the damage.
Well, I'll take a look at it. Witness, independent witness, who says that you came into her lane.
And she also told the officer that she turned on the yellow light. She told the officer that. But then when her dad got there, he said, no, Amanda, it was green. And when I spoke to the insurance companies, to my...
No, don't tell me what
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Your car was damaged. Question is, was it your fault or not?
No, Your Honor. She came into my lane, and her left front bumper is damaged. My right front fender...
I had a scrape on my bumper, and I actually got out of my car and went back to her because I had pulled my car on the side to get out of traffic.
Just a second. Did you hear any conversation between either the plaintiff and the defendant or police officers when they came?
It was only one officer.
One officer. You heard no conversation?
I did not.
And as certain as you are that you heard no conversation, is that how certain you are that the plaintiff came into the defendant's lane?
Absolutely.
Okay. The case is dismissed. We're done.
Parties are excused.
may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy,
A former Nugget spend the night
with me.
I also always slept in his apartment.
I didn't ask where you were sleeping. I asked where the dog was sleeping.
Judge Judy.
The insurance company said that they were not touching it because
I didn't go through insurance because my insurance shouldn't have to pay for it.
their investigation, I was not at fault.
Oh, the investigation, yeah, they couldn't do anything. They denied all claims.
And hopefully she drives a little more carefully.
But the police did say to me at the end, green always wins.
Accept responsibility for what you've done.
Keep driving correctly.
Your rent was $300.
He raised it to $500.
And then he raised it another $100.
Yes.
The cost of her room went through the roof.
It's a free America. That's his choice.
So she chose to make excuses instead of paying.
There was 24 violations from housing.
If he wants to live like a pig in his house, he could live like a pig in his house. And you have a choice to move elsewhere. Move!
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
24-year-old Tierra Kelly is suing her former landlord, Marvin Augustus, for the return of rent and for destroying her belongings.
And it's case number 276 on the calendar in the matter of Kelly versus Augustus.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Ladies, have a seat, please.
Miss Kelly, you were a tenant of Mr. Augustus for a period of time, and you claim several things. You claim you overpaid him in rent, which he raised your rent from an initial $300. He raised it to $600. According to you, that was in violation of the law. And in addition, you say he put some of your things outside and they were damaged. That's your case. Mr. Augustus says that he owns a private home, and it was ultimately determined that he could charge whatever rent he wants to someone who's renting a room in his private home.
That's correct.
And that you lived there without paying rent from May until October. And in addition, you made some false allegations to the housing authority against him, and that was back in the beginning of the summer. And despite the fact that you reported him to the housing authority for maintaining unsavory living conditions, you elected to stay there until October without paying rent, so he has a counterclaim. All right, let's take care of the easy things first. You moved in on what date, Miss Kelly?
August 2014.
And you moved out on what date?
October 3rd, 2016.
What kind?
Bottle serving and clubs or events, things like that.
Okay. So you lived there for 2 years?
Yeah.
And I assume you had options as far as living places?
No. I'm from New York, so I came out here and...
Well, of course you have options. If things are unsafe, unsanitary,
no,
or too expensive,
if I don't have family.
You move. That's what you do. People who don't like where they're living, they move. Now, when you moved in, your rent was $300.
Yes.
When did he raise it to $600?
He raised it to $500 first.
When?
January 2015. And then he
$500 first, and you agreed to pay him the $500?
Yes, because I had nowhere else to go.
And then when did he raise it again?
January 2016.
He raised it another $100?
Yes.
Did you have your own room in his house?
Yes.
Any other boarders in his house?
No.
Did he also live there?
Yes.
How long have you been renting a room, Mr. Augustus, in your house?
Well, I had two sisters living with me. They moved in around June of 2014. And
had you ever rented a room to anyone?
No, not prior to the two sisters. I always stayed in my house by myself.
Okay. Now, you're going to show me an official document, and Mr. Augustus is going to show me an official document, and your official document is going to say he overcharged you rent because of something, and your official document is going to tell me that you're not subject...
I'm sorry, Judge Judy, I can't hear you.
Okay. Who are you?
Stacy, I'm his daughter.
Could you stand up, please? Tell me your name.
Stacy McKellar.
Miss McKellar, do you have a document from the city indicating that he is not subject to any rent control?
Yes, ma'am.
You do, and you have one as well? Mm-hmm. Okay, now I'd like to see it. So that will take care of one issue. Okay, your letter is dated August 4th of 2016.
He got his...
Just a second, I'm reading it. Okay, so this is from the Los Angeles Housing Authority, and it says, Mr. Augustus, we have reviewed a complaint, and it was for an illegal eviction and illegal rent increase. And it says under the rent stabilization office, rent may be increased a certain amount. You increased her rent too much, and therefore you have to repay her that rent. Then in September, which is a month later, this is also from the Los Angeles Housing Authority, a review of the applicability of the Los Angeles Rent Stabilization Ordinance to this property has been completed. Our review of the available property records indicate that the house located on this lot is not subject to rent. Single-family dwelling. Single-family dwellings are also exempt from systemic code enforcement program, and their records will be updated to reflect the exemption for this property. Okay? So, did you see this letter?
Yeah, but
just
they
a second.
lied. Yes.
All I'm asking is, you saw this letter?
Yeah, I saw that.
Okay, so that takes care of your overpayment.
How does that take over overpayment if he already signed before, even after he got that letter, he already signed that he was going to give me money for the overpayment. And they lied because there's another building in the back, someone pays rent, and his daughter only popped up
I'm going to explain it to you.
I know, I'm just telling
I'm going to explain it to you. The explanation is somebody in August didn't do their homework and examine his property and pay attention, and didn't do their homework and looked and said, well, he can't raise rent from $300 to $600 because that's too much of an increase. So they sent you this letter. Based upon this letter, he agreed to pay you the overpayment that they said that he, stop shaking, that he said that they had to pay you. He evidently appealed it or asked them to look into the record. Sorry, somebody sent this in August, and they shouldn't have. You live in a private house, and if you want to rent a room, and if somebody wants to pay you $10,000 a month for the private room in a single-family dwelling that's not subject to rent stabilization, you can charge whatever you want. That's what the later letter indicates.
Can I say something?
You can say whatever you want. I've just explained it to you.
I know, but can I speak up on something?
You can tell me whatever you want.
Well, I'm going to let you know why later that popped up, because after we already settled where he had to pay money, he still didn't want to pay me money because he knew he was wrong. I have a letter from the health department stating how the house was not safety at all. There was 24 violations from housing, period, where he shouldn't have been living there in that type of living condition.
Move! Move!
I did move. I wasn't going to leave anywhere, and I had nowhere place to go, and someone just throws my stuff out. His daughter wasn't even there for 2 years in a picture. She popped up and lied. There is another dwelling in their back house.
Listen to me. I'm just reading.
I understand what you're reading, but what I'm telling you, that is not facts. That is not the truth.
No, this is fact.
When they're lying to housing and they're telling that, they didn't come back to the house and see that it was only a single family.
Listen to me. You're not getting any money. Now, this is a free country. You work, you make a living.
And he did nothing.
Listen, careful. You work, you make a living. If the living conditions that Mr. Augustus chooses to live in his own private house are unacceptable for anybody, you shouldn't live there. It's his house. If he wants to live like a pig in his house, he could live like a pig in his house. I don't know if his house is a pigsty, but if he wants to live there, it's a free America. That's his choice. You, on the other hand, don't own that house, and you have a choice to move elsewhere. You're supposed to be paying $600 a month rent. So what you did, according to Mr. Augustus, is you stopped paying rent in May.
No.
But you still, just a second, well, we'll get to that.
Okay.
But you still lived there in May, June, July, August, and September. For 5 months, despite the fact that it was so terrible, you still lived there. So my next question to you is, if the conditions were so terrible, and you lived there, because it's clear from both of your papers, May, June, July, August, September, and you moved out in October, did you pay rent for those months?
No.
Well, that comes under my story if you go into a restaurant and order a steak. You're a waitress. Pay attention. From you're the waitress. And you serve the steak, and the person that ordered the steak finishes the steak, and then you give them a bill. And they said, we're not paying for the steak. We didn't like it. And they walk out. Does your boss take that out of your wages that you let somebody eat for free?
Yes, but not in this case. I couldn't compare that to this case.
Just a second. If you eat the steak, you have to pay for it. So you lived in the house May, June, July, August, and September. You lived in this house that you say was terrible. You called the health department.
Can I tell you why I stayed that long? Because in May, I received a 3-day notice where he told me he was just going to kick me out, and I had to just leave and pay that money, and he threw my things out. He threw my things out then, where I had to call the cops on him. He never served me an eviction notice.
You're not answering my question.
But I'm saying why I stayed that long. Because he was trying to still get money from me without any eviction notice, without any of the stuff, before I even had notice of all that stuff.
Miss Kelly.
Before I had notice of housing, of that being a single family, of anything.
Miss Kelly, I'm not talking about him.
I'm talking about why I stayed.
No, you're not.
Yes, I am.
No, you're not.
I stayed because I had legal rights to still stay there, even though he tried to just
Your
give
case
me a
is
notice.
dismissed. The whole thing is dismissed because you don't pay attention. I'm really not answering my question.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today,
Do me a favor. Button that button on your shirt. That's
Certainly. Yes, I actually
I'm not
don't...
finished. The next one, too.
Wow.
Because this is not an audition for anything, Mr. Tansey. This is a case that's going to be over very fast.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Tiara Kelly says former landlord Marvin Augustus owes for the return of rent and destroying her belongings. Marvin is countersuing for rent and for making false charges to the housing authority.
Now, if you live in a disgusting place that you
And I had nowhere to go, so I stayed.
You mean this is the only house in Los Angeles?
That's the only place where I had
Your
to stay
case is
where
dismissed.
I could pay money.
Now, your rent was $600 a month, and you lived there for 5 months. That's $3,000 that you didn't pay him. That's $3,000. You ate the steak.
And I overpaid him money.
No, you didn't overpay it, not according to the County of Los Angeles.
Okay.
You owe him $3,000. Judgment on the counterclaim. We're done.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Well, the plaintiff was a squatter
I did not pay that. I paid him too much money.
and extortionist.
He was perfectly fine with me living there until I did not give him $400, which he was getting.
And that she was just trying to get something for nothing.
She wasn't there at all, like in the picture ever around for 2 years that I lived there.
So I felt like my father was being taken advantage of.
She was never there for holidays. He was there by himself on holidays watching Judge Judy.
Why don't you leave if you're not happy here?
He's there by himself every day, all the time, but you know.
And she's upset because she can't sit in my dad's backyard and dance naked anymore.
and now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Latin versus Tansey. Step forward.
Jennifer Latin is suing David Tansey for selling her a Prius with a lien on the title.
What do you do for a living, Mr. Tansey?
I am a self-employed entrepreneur.
A self-employed?
So, I'm an entrepreneur.
What does that mean?
It means I try to find profitable business enterprises.
How do you support yourself?
Primarily right now through vacation rentals.
So you have rental property that you own or that you're an agent for?
I have
Would you do me a favor? Button that button on your shirt. That's...
Certainly. Yes, I actually
I'm not
don't...
finished. The next one, too.
Wow.
An audition for anything, Mr. Tansey. This is a case that's going to be over very fast, because this is what happened. Mr. and Mrs. Latin were looking for a car for their son. They saw a car that you were advertising on Craigslist, and they came to look at the car. They liked it, and they negotiated a price with you. This was a car that you owned, but which had on it a title loan that you were taken out because I guess your entrepreneurship wasn't going so well, because those people who take out title loans on their car usually are desperate for money. So they negotiated a price with you, and they knew that the car had a title loan. Stop playing with your pen. They knew that the car had a title loan because you told them that you were going to take part of the money that they paid you and go to pay off the title loan. As a matter of fact, they even went to the bank with you at one point, and you gave them a receipt showing that you had, in fact, paid off the title loan. Well, then they went to the Department of Motor Vehicles, and the Department of Motor Vehicles initially said there's still a title loan on the car. come back on Monday. Sometimes it takes a couple of days. Now, I may be doing a Reader's Digest version of this story, but this is the gist of it, and this is only a half-hour program.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Okay, so this is the man of integrity. Did you ever take out a title loan on your car?
No.
You ever take out a title loan on your car?
No.
Camera one, did you ever take out a title loan on your car?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Jennifer Latin says David Tansey sold her a Prius with a lien on the title.
So what it seems, Mr. Tansey, is that you did, in fact, go to the bank with Mr. and Mrs. Latin and paid off the $1,401 that was left on the title loan. The only problem is because your business, this entrepreneur businessship that you're involved in, is so lousy that you had bounced a couple of other checks that you wrote, and the bank paid those checks and then bounced the check to the title company so that the loan was never paid off. So they can't register the car. Well, now they come back to you and say, what happened? According to you, you say to them, you know, I gave you this car for a really good price. Why don't you just give it back to me, and I'll give you back your money because I can sell it to somebody else for more money. And according to you, they say, no, we love the car. We'll pay off your title loan. And what you did actually was, you did pay off the title loan.
Yes, we did.
Using a?
Credit card.
And what did Mr. Tansey say he was going to do about this title loan that you paid off so that you could now register the car that you had already given him how many thousands of dollars for?
$9,250.
In a cashier's check?
Correct.
Right. What did Mr. Tansey say to you when you agreed to pay off the credit card?
He said that he would be able to pay us back. He's a man of his word within 30 days. That's where my husband was with me at the bank, and that he's a man of his word. He has integrity. It's not going to be a problem.
Okay, so this is the man of integrity we're dealing with, and who's his integrity. He's an entrepreneur, and that's the way he makes his living. So he had to take a title loan out on the car. Do you and your husband both work?
Yes, we do.
And you have vehicles?
Correct.
Did you ever take out a title loan on your car?
No.
Did you ever take out a title loan on your car?
No.
You ever take out a title loan on your car?
No.
Camera one, did you ever take out a title loan on your car? Did he ever give you any money towards the title loan?
No, he didn't.
Right.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by.
Want justice? Go to Judge and follow us on Twitter.
Now, Mr. Tansey, clearly you understood that it was your responsibility to pay off the title loan because you went to the bank with Mr. and Mrs. Latin to show them that you were, in fact, paying off the title loan with the $9,000 that they gave you for the car. So you understood it was your responsibility.
That was, in fact, a courtesy.
No, listen to me. You understood that it was your responsibility, which is why you went to the bank with them to show them that you were paying it off. And you gave them, just a second, and you gave them the receipt, right? And you said in your answer, sir, that the problem was that some checks had bounced in your account.
Well, I'd like to clarify something
No,
first.
don't clarify. First, answer my question.
All right.
You said in your answer, which I read very carefully, that checks bounced in your account, which caused the check for the lien to bounce, which is why it was never cleared. That's what you said in your answer. Was that the truth or a lie?
That is what I was told from the bank.
That's what you were told, and that's what you believed.
Yes.
Then you understood that you had a responsibility, because you did pay it, that it was your responsibility to pay off the loan from the proceeds. Or you mean you just felt like taking Mr. and Mrs. You just felt like taking an afternoon ride with them to the bank? And so either one of two things, Mr. Tansey. Either you felt like taking a ride with Mr. and Mrs. Latin, you had nothing else to do.
They are very pleasant people.
Okay, $1,401. It's not an audition. Get him out of here.
You are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
Well, the ad said clean, which means no lien. If it says clean, it doesn't mean salvaged.
And then there's a title with a lien. She understood it had a lien. She signed a bill of sale knowing it had a lien.
I would have never even answered the ad if it had a lien on it.
Bill of sale, it said, the lien is clearly depicted on there.
He definitely seems like he's an entrepreneur out to get money any way he can.
Preposterous. Absolutely preposterous.
I love Judge Judy. I always have, and I do even more now. Justice was served.
That is the adorable Nugget.
A former couple fights over puppy custody.
Where did Nugget spend the night?
With me.
Your house.
I also always slept in his apartment.
I didn't ask where you were sleeping. I asked where the dog was sleeping.
Now,
Miss Khaleesi, you are getting yourself in so much difficulty.
will her broken heart be enough?
I took care of my dog like I had, you know.
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
23-year-old Jenna Khaleesi is suing her ex-boyfriend, Michael Trayers, for the return of her dog and for falsely accusing her of assault.
Order. All rise.
Now it's case number 265 on the calendar in the matter of Khaleesi versus Trayers.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Sir, have a seat.
That is the adorable Nugget.
It is, yes.
I've read the complaint and your answer. Why don't you put Nugget down? He would like to say hello to Miss Khaleesi, I think. Probably hasn't seen her for a bit.
It's been like a month or so.
Month or so. Okay. Good.
Okay, come on, buddy.
Okay. Is Nugget friendly?
Yes.
Yeah, he was actually going to just go visit you, I think.
Okay. Very good. All right, this is what the case is about. You two were a couple, and you're no longer a couple. You're fighting over the dog. So I have to make a judgment as to who owns the dog. Now, Miss Khaleesi, when you and Mr. Trayers were a couple, on what date did you...
Together in his Lawrence apartment in May of 2015.
What does that mean?
Well, we started dating in April of 2015.
April? Just a second. Let's go very slowly. April 2015, you started dating.
Yes.
Were you living in your own apartment?
Yes.
Any roommates?
Yes.
How many?
I had 2 roommates.
And you had a lease?
Yes.
And when did your lease expire on that apartment?
The lease had actually just started.
So you had a new lease in April with roommates.
It was probably a few months before that.
And you moved in at some point with Mr. Trayers?
Yes.
Just a second. I asked the question. You moved in at some point with Mr. Trayers into his apartment?
Yes.
What date?
I don't have an actual date. The roommate situation that I was having in my apartment wasn't that great. So me and my...
Just a second. When was the last month you paid rent in that apartment that you had with roommates?
Probably March of 2015.
So you mean you lived there March and April without paying rent?
No. I had the apartment before I met Mike.
I understand what you're saying. You were living with roommates.
Yes.
That lease with the roommates expired January of 2016.
I believe it was actually, I think it actually expired in...
I want you to try to compose yourself. You probably didn't think I was going to go my way. And if you need other people, like your roommate, to help you, I'll place the call. When was the last month you paid rent on the apartment that you were living in with your roommates?
April of 2015.
And you moved in with Michael in May.
I started sleeping at his apartment like most nights, and then gradually just kind of like had more and more stuff at the house, at his apartment.
When did you move in with the defendant to his apartment? Give me the month.
The month that we moved into the apartment in Lowell was September 1st of 2015.
Where did you get your mail between May and September?
At my apartment in Lowell.
Where your roommates were?
Yes.
So that's where you were residing?
Yes.
In your apartment until September, when you moved in with the defendant?
Yes.
Great. Now, Mr. Trayers.
Yes, Your Honor.
When was Nugget purchased?
In June 18th, 2015.
And when Nugget was purchased, from June 18th until September 1st,
yes,
where did Nugget spend the night?
Every single night since I have bought him has spent with me.
In your house.
And
did Nugget ever spend the night at Miss Khaleesi's apartment with her roommates?
No, they weren't allowed to have animals there.
That's not true. I need the name and phone number of your roommates.
Okay. I can.
Get it. So what you're telling me, Miss Khaleesi, is that you were allowed to have pets in the apartment where you were living with your roommates?
No.
Okay, then I don't need the name of your roommates.
I was paying for an apartment that I wasn't living in. So I was paying rent for an apartment, but in the months that we lived together, I very, very rarely would go there. So that is why I ultimately ended my lease with my roommates, because I was paying for an apartment that I wasn't at, because I spent every night at his house.
You just told me that you paid rent.
Yep, I paid rent until we came to an agreement. I paid out the amount. I paid about $2,000 to my roommate.
Ms. Khaleesi, you are getting yourself in so much difficulty because you're trying to figure out where I'm going, and you're not going to figure out where I'm going. So if you try to tailor your testimony to where you think it's going to help your case, what happens is I have a good memory. And you told me you stopped paying rent in April of 2015, and you moved in to an apartment together, a new apartment with the defendant, September 1st. Then I asked him, did the dog always sleep in your apartment? He bought the dog in June, which means that July and August, you kept shaking your head when he said that. No,
I also always slept in his apartment.
I didn't ask where you were sleeping. I asked where the dog was sleeping. Do you understand?
Yes.
Fine. Now, do you have the papers for the dog when you purchased the dog? I'd like to take a look at the papers.
This is the only physical paper that we were given at the time. It also went through a third party, which she's going to show you.
Just a second, I can read.
Okay.
So at the time, Mr. Trayers,
Yes.
you are named as a purchaser.
Mhm.
You lived at 270.
Yes, Your Honor. And that's on the third party paperwork with my name as the leasee under 270. This is also the pet amendum for when we signed the lease.
May I see that, please?
Sure.
And then I have the contract here.
And this is when you moved into the new apartment?
Yes, Your Honor.
In September?
Yeah, it was September 15th, not the 1st.
Okay. What do you have there?
This is the contract that was signed when we purchased the dog. So it was through, so the Puppy Palace was the place that we got the dog at, but the dog was financed. So it was financed through two different parties.
That's what I was referring to for you.
So on that contract.
Okay, so this is financing of Michael Trayers, and the co-lessee name is?
Nobody, but my signature is on every page.
Is nobody.
Yeah,
Okay, so
no
you're paying this puppy out.
Apologize.
Puppy was $1,500. Did you pay $1,500 on that date?
No, since
The
it was
answer is no.
I paid
So-
$125
So
in
you're
cash.
paying the puppy off in certain installments?
Correct, yes.
Okay, great. Starting on what date?
So when we got the dog, because all my credit cards are tied up into all my bills, I pay for all my rent.
Whatever, I don't care.
Okay, I'm just saying. So I asked Jenna if she could put her credit card down.
So they ran my credit.
So So she put her
Fine.
card down and signed it. That's why her signature
I
is on
got
the
it.
paper.
I
So I
got
was
it.
giving her cash every month until September when we moved in together. Our
That's all.
agreement was...
Just a sec.
I've proved too. Our agreement was in September that she would pay the two smallest bills because she's in college and I didn't want her to have a big strain. So I paid all the rent, all the food.
Okay, you paid
every
that's
single
what
dog
you,
bill.
Shh, listen to me. So you paid the major expenses.
Yes.
And it was your agreement that Miss Khaleesi pay the pet bill and, according to you, a utility bill?
The cable bill.
Cable
Utility and cable and food and everything else.
No, not rent.
Not rent, but he also
Okay.
wasn't paying rent. His mom was.
Okay.
Because he wasn't working.
I'm talking now about the dog. The puppy lived with the defendant until September 1st when you moved in together. And the puppy stayed at his house until you moved into a new premises on September 1st. Now what I want to see is not your payments, because he acknowledges that you made payments September 1st, whatever reason he gives for the fact that you made the payments starting September 1st until the day that you finally separated. Now, you separated once in April and then got back together briefly in May, according to you. On what date did you finally separate?
June 1st was the official day that I moved out.
Of this year?
Of 2016, yes.
Now, after June 1st of 2016, did you make any payments for the dog? After June 1st?
I made the last payment that was made was June 20th of 2016. I have the printout off of the
So
financing.
you didn't pay July, August, September, or October?
No.
Okay, so for the last 4 months, You didn't pay for the dog.
I did not. I was in constant contact with the financing company because they kept informing me that payments were not being made. They kept calling me and telling me that the dog was going to get repossessed because Mike was not making payments.
Listen to me. You can't tell me what the finance company said to you. That's hearsay. All I want to know is for those 4 months, and the dog was with the defendant.
Yes.
So from September 1st until June 20th.
June 20th.
The payments were made by you. You don't deny that.
I denied June, but September to May she paid, correct.
Fine. I'd like to see your payments after that.
I have a credit report from them stating that everything's payment on time.
I have.
Monterey.
Just a second. Very easy call. I asked you a question. That's not my question, Mr. Trayers.
What's that?
The question was...
This shows payments.
Just a second.
Okay,
First, I asked you the question.
Mm-hmm.
Did you make the payments in July, August, September, and/or October, which we're not quite finished with?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you make the payments? And is that going to demonstrate the payments to me? Can I see them, please?
Can I give you this as well to show that this says what I purchased the animal in full for yesterday as well?
That you what?
This is from that company stating that I purchased the animal yesterday for a certain amount as well.
I don't know. I don't know. Let me see.
I have from the financing website the 2 times. Mike's only made 2 payments on this dog. Mike made a payment with a credit card on 8/25 of 2016 and then 9/21 of 2016. He has not been keeping up with the payments.
Just a second. Last payment made June 20th. Would you show me your check or any... You. Check. Does that come from your bank?
This came from the financing website, so this was just the spreadsheet of everything. Like,
No. I want to see that you made the payment on June 20th. If you moved out on June 1st, I want to see that you made the payment on June 20th.
This is my bank statement right here, and it's highlighted.
Well, it looks like she made the payment on June 20th.
Like I said, I could be
She
off by
made the
month.
payment on June 20th.
Okay.
The first payment he made was on 8/25 of 16.
Okay.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I took care of my dog. Like, I had an Instagram account for him. Like, I loved my dog. That was my child, you know. Mike didn't work.
So he stayed home with the dog?
He did. He stayed home with the dog because he was unemployed and because he would just sit around and be...
I'd be with the dog.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Jenna Khaleesi says ex-boyfriend Michael Trayers owes for the return of her dog and for false accusations of assault. Michael is countersuing for unpaid bills and the cost of the dog.
Apartment lease?
No. On the dog lease. Did you take your name off the dog lease?
No.
So your name is still on the dog lease?
My name was never on the dog lease. Just my signature.
So you're not on the dog lease?
No.
So you're not on the dog lease, and you're not listed as the purchaser of the dog. Those are the facts. Now you want to tell me why you think that you're entitled to the dog.
I feel that I'm entitled to the dog because it was my child. It was my, you know, I work, I go to school, I took care of my dog. Like, I had an Instagram account for him. Like, I loved my dog. That was my child, you know. Mike didn't work. He didn't have any money, so I was making these payments.
So he stayed home with the dog?
He did. He stayed home with the dog, but he would be in the same exact spot.
You go to school. You work, you go to school. Dog's like your child, but he stayed home, according to you. I mean, I don't know if it's true.
Because he was unemployed and because he would just sit around and be...
I'd be with the dog. Miss Khaleesi, you have no case. He is the registered owner of the dog. The dog has been with him consistently. He is on the lease for the dog. And by the way, that lease is sort of unconscionable.
The leasing company contacted me yesterday.
Listen to me. You can't tell me what they said. That's hearsay.
I have a new contract.
I don't care. Contract over a pet that you don't own.
They admitted that they were wrong.
Just a second.
That they filed it wrong.
You have no case. The leasing company cannot give you a contract to pay for a dog that doesn't belong to you. According to this yellow document that says the purchaser of the dog is the defendant. So you may make an end run around it, but he is the purchaser. It's just like I buy a car. and you are allowed to use that car. And you decide that since you were allowed to use it and you made some payments on the car, you want to own the car. So you go to the Department of Motor Vehicles and say, well, I want to show you that I made payments on this car and I should be on the title. They look at the ownership and who is the car registered to, and they say the registered owner of this car is Judy Scheindlin, not you. Well, you say, here, proof that I made some payments on the car. Motor Vehicles is still not going to let you be the title holder of that car, and they're not going to give you the ability to go and get that car.
Would you like to take a look at this?
No, I'm telling you what the law is. I don't care what some kook in a lending company tells you.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
He says that the bill has been fully paid, and Mr. Trayer's bill is not delinquent.
It says it on their credit report right there, too.
I don't care what the credit report says, sir.
Okay.
I asked you a simple question.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Jenna Khaleesi claims ex-boyfriend Michael Trayers owes for the return of her dog and for false accusations. Michael has a countersuit for bills and the cost of the dog.
Now, I'm telling you what the law is. He is the owner of the dog, and absent them repossessing the dog for non-payment, which they can if he doesn't pay, and then saying to you, we have now repossessed the dog for non-payment. If you want to pay off this, we will give you the dog, because we have the legal right to come and claim the dog. That's a possibility. And that would mean that Mr. Trayer better make certain that there is no outstanding debt on this dog.
That's why the piece of paper you have actually states
which actually shows that. But if he did owe money on the dog, and if they decided to repossess the dog, then they would say, well, I'm going to sell it or whatever. And I certainly know that Miss Khaleesi wants it, so I'll offer it to her first if she wants to pay off this note. But they can't make you the owner of the dog. They're just happy to see you. Is this a new boyfriend?
No.
No? Just friend?
Best friend of 8 years. He witnessed pretty much everything that happened in our relationship.
I don't care what he witnessed. I don't care that you had a fight. I don't care that you went over with the police to try to get the dog.
The new
I don't care if he
contract-
blocked you in. I don't care.
The new contract that they emailed to me said that they were giving me the title of the dog. That they
Listen to me. They can't give you the title to the dog. They have to give him notice that they are going to come and repossess the animal. Do you understand? If they do it, and he says that the bill has been fully paid, Mr. Trayers,
Yes, Your
I
Honor.
certainly expect that to be true.
It is.
That the bill is not delinquent, because it would be sad.
It says it on their credit report right there, too.
I don't care what the credit report says, sir.
Okay, I apologize.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Now, I asked you a simple question. The simple question was, she can get the dog if they come and take the dog from you with a marshal. Do you understand that?
Yes, that's correct.
Right?
Yes.
Do you live at the same place?
I do.
That's on these contracts?
Yes.
Great, so they know where to go. Perfect. Very good. And at that point, if you are delinquent, to pay off the contracts and get the dog.
I'm more than well aware, yes, Your Honor. I said I'm more than well aware, yes, Your Honor.
You are?
Yes.
Okay, that's it. We're done. If that happens, the dog can be yours. Otherwise, I certainly suggest that if you want a pet, you go out and get one. We're done.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
We were off and on till July. I was seeing another girl.
because he's holding it over me because he wants me to get back. He wanted to get back together.
She started messaging that other girl Facebook.
He just says that he wants to get back together.
They started talking to each other. Then she broke into my house and stole my dog.
The police got involved because I found out that my name was all over that contract and that Mike has been lying to me about everything.
I called the police because she broke into my house, stole my dog.
And the police told me that I needed to take this to civil court.
And then I had to go outside and she physically assaulted me.
I went over there because I used to live there. So I went over, I met up with Mike to show me the paperwork, and he didn't show me the paperwork that had my name on it.
You know, I tried to actually share the dog with her and be a nice guy.
And I found out through a third party that my name was all over that paperwork.
She didn't want to. She wanted to make it personal.
So I contacted the police, I contacted a lawyer, and I tried to get my dog back.
No way. I'll say that very lightly. There's no way in hell that she is going to see this dog.
And he's ill fit to take care of the dog.
I just appreciate Judge Judy doing her job.
You purchased a lottery ticket. Lo and behold, you won. What did you do next?
Celebrated.
A couple's lucky streak came to an end.
I told Dave, someone claimed our ticket. Somebody stole our ticket.
And that's how we get to the defendant, who cashed your lottery ticket.
But should they have taken their chances with the judge?
My father-in-law contacted me one morning saying, hey, I won a lottery ticket.
Your father-in-law's a liar, and so are you.
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
David and Kathleen Purcell are suing 22-year-old Sean Linwood for stealing their winning lottery ticket.
Order. All rise.
That's case number 250 on the calendar in the matter of Purcell versus Linwood.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat, please.
Mr. and Mrs. Purcell, you purchased a lottery ticket.
Correct.
Where did you purchase it?
A bar next to our home.
And where is that?
In Sandy, Oregon.
When did you purchase it?
February 20th, 2016.
How much did you pay for the lottery ticket, and what were the prizes?
We paid $20 for 20 games. It was an 8-spot.
And it's an Oregon lottery.
Yes, and yes, we have.
Did you ever win before?
Yes.
And prior to this ticket, how much had you won before?
We won one for $600 once.
And that's the only time?
No, we've won a couple for about that amount.
A couple for $600?
Yes.
So it more than paid for itself?
Yes.
I assume. That's
Yes.
why you keep playing. Lucky people.
Yeah, we've lost a few too.
Hmm?
We've lost a few
Oh,
too.
I can imagine. People usually only talk about their wins.
Absolutely.
So you bought this lottery ticket, and lo and behold, you won. How much did you win?
$1,750.
And you found out that you won how?
Well, my husband went and checked the Did You Win machine, and it said, you're a winner, please see your retailer. So he brought it up to the bartender, who is our witness, Tria, and she scanned the ticket. Now, if you win over $600, it doesn't tell you immediately how much you won. You have to go back and check the numbers, and then you can find out how much you won. But we had hit 7 out of the 8 numbers, and that paid $1,750.
What did you do next?
Celebrated. And then the next day, I went and got a claim form, which you can get right there at the saloon. And I brought it home, and Dave, my husband, filled it out the next day.
Listing your name, your address?
It was in my name. He put the claim form in my name. He even took a picture of the ticket.
And you have a picture of the ticket?
Yes.
Correct.
And then what do? They send you a check?
Yeah, you send it into Salem, Oregon, and it usually takes about 3 days to get it back.
And it didn't come back?
And it didn't come back.
And you began investigating, and you had the picture of the ticket with the numbers.
Yeah, we waited the 2 weeks that they tell you to wait. On the 15th day, I called down there to Lottery and gave her my last name and the numbers. I said, we didn't receive our money. Well, they didn't have any of our information. So I told Dave, someone claimed our ticket. Somebody stole our ticket. So that's when I put in a public records request through the Lottery and received his information.
Okay, and that's how we get to the defendant who cashed your lottery ticket.
Correct.
Okay. First, I'd like to see a photo of the ticket.
He has it on his phone that is actually date stamped. I have a picture of it here, but if you'd like to see it with the date on it.
I would.
That's the picture of the ticket, and then he has it on his phone also. That was taken in February.
Got it. Thank you.
We also have our claim form. If you'd like to see that.
I would. As a matter of fact, I'd like to have it up here.
You'd notice the date, it's the 22nd. I contacted him through Facebook.
And did he respond?
Yes, after a couple of attempts.
Okay. And what did he say to you when he responded on Facebook?
I'd be glad to show you that.
I'd like to see it.
I draw your attention to the last few.
I'm going to read them all.
Yeah, because he does change his story a couple of times. Okay.
What do you do for a living, Mr. Linwood?
I drive forklift, I do retail, and I do warehouse work.
Let's try to get one cogent story, sir.
Okay.
On what date did this lottery ticket come into your possession?
It had to have been February 27th or probably the beginning of March.
And how did it come into your possession?
Came into my possession, my father-in-law at the time, he contacted me one morning saying, hey, I won a lottery ticket of $1,750. I said, oh, wow, that's awesome. He said, well, could you help me out? It's unsigned. Can you turn it in for me? Because if I turn it in, I'm afraid that child support will take most of it. And I said, yeah, sure.
Stand up. What do you do for a living?
I'm a well driller.
What's your last name?
Richard.
On what date did this lottery
A bar called the Country Corral.
You go to the bar often?
No, I played video poker that night.
Is this bar near to where you live?
Close, yes.
You never know where I'm going to be going, Mr. Richard.
Right.
Do you understand?
I got you.
So it's close to where you live, and you've lived at this address for how long?
Probably 2 months at the time.
Why 2 months?
Because I relocated.
With whom did you relocate?
My daughter and my son-in-law.
So the three of you moved into this place together. Am I understanding that you moved into this new place 2 months before, so that would have been in December, with the defendant and your daughter?
Correct.
You see how you don't know where I'm going, so you understand that?
Yes, I do, Your
Yes,
Honor.
you do. So now you're at a place with Mr. Linwood, and Mr. Linwood just told me that he got a call from you. Now he lives with you. Why do you think that I would believe that since you were living with him, he would call you instead of discussing it with you when he saw you at home? Why do you think that, Mr. Linwood?
Well,
Get to think fast. Just tell me why you think that he would call you, and you would have a record of that, correct? On your phone log that he called you.
I do not
think he would call you instead of discussing it with you in person, because clearly he wanted you to do something illegal, right? Right? If he was looking to avoid child support, he was looking to do something illegal, right?
Yes.
Isn't that something you would want to discuss in person with somebody rather than over the phone?
Absolutely, Your Honor.
So why would you think if he was living with you, he would discuss that with you over the phone? And by the way, where did you get the call?
I got the call. I was at my house, and
where was he?
He's not always at the house.
It's going to get better. I'm going to enjoy it better. All right. Now, Mr. Richard.
Your Honor.
Do you understand? This is not going to turn out well for you or for him, because I read his texts back and forth to the plaintiffs, and his texts back and forth suggests to me he clearly knew that he came into possession of this lottery ticket that did not belong to him. And you knew that if you were involved, that you came into possession of the lottery ticket that didn't belong to you, because immediately what he said was, please don't go to the cops. I will have your money, please. And the first thing he said was that you gave him the lottery ticket as a gift.
As a gift.
As a gift. But he said you asked him to cash it for you so that you could avoid child support. Which one do you think it is?
Gift.
It was a gift to him.
Yes.
Well, then he had the money, you see. Then 2 weeks later... 2 weeks later, he had the money. He said, I didn't spend most of it. I have $900. Then he said, I have $1,400. I have to wait until I get paid, but I'll get it all back to you. And then all of a sudden, your tone changed, Mr. Linwood.
Yes, it did, Your Honor.
And why did your tone change?
Your Honor, my father-in-law told me...
Your father-in-law is a liar. So he can sit down. Sit. And so are you. In a short space of 2 pages, you changed your story 3 times.
Yes, I did.
And you swore, and just a second, and you swore to me that he is a liar. Do you want to know why?
Why?
Because he just said to me that it was a gift to you. And your answer says he asked me to cash the lottery ticket for him, and this is a sworn deposition, because at the time he owed back child support, and he was afraid that his winnings would be taken away from him. Now, he just swore to me that he made this lottery ticket gift as a gift to you.
It was not a gift, Your Honor.
Well, so then you just called him a liar. So he's a liar. Sit down. You see, and you came together. And you two are so stupid you can't even get your stories together. You slept in the same hotel room last night and you can't get your stories together. They ought to give a prize for stupid. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,750. We're done.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I bought the ticket from somebody that was on the the side view of a bar.
Why would you buy a winning lottery ticket off somebody unless it was acquired illegally?
I have no idea who this guy was.
It's too fishy. Why would you put yourself in that? They just thought they weren't going to get caught.
Regardless of a gift or whatever, they didn't sign their ticket.
I really have no hard feelings to Sean. I think he was kind of stuck in the middle of this thing.
So I decided to go ahead and buy it. It seemed legit.
The father-in-law, I'm not so sure.
And I'll double my money anytime.
I don't buy the story at all.
She said, quote unquote, we either think it's a lottery worker or a postal worker.
We couldn't get much results from police enforcement.
Well, I'm neither of those. I have no ties to those. So therefore, I did not steal it.
I'm low on the priority board, so I turned to Judge Judy and I got justice.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Brady versus Lindsay. Step forward.
Trudy Brady is suing 20 loan for a car down payment.
Miss Brady, you were working at a used car lot, is that right?
Correct.
How long have you worked there?
Since October 23rd of last year.
And on what date did you sell Miss Lindsay a car?
January 15th of 2016.
What kind of car did you sell her?
2006 Toyota Avalon.
And she financed it?
Correct.
How much did you sell it to her for?
$11,950.
And what was your commission on the $11,950?
Total commission that I would receive would be $559.40.
This is what your complaint is. Miss Lindsay didn't have sufficient funds to make the down payment.
Correct.
Is that correct?
No, ma'am.
You had sufficient funds to make the down payment?
That's how I got the car, Your Honor.
No, that's not my question.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
When did you total the car?
I totaled the car in April, Your Honor.
Very well, that's when your last payment was.
Well, Your Honor, when I told her I had totaled the car, she said that was fine.
I don't care what you're saying she said. You owed her $1,030. Did you have insurance?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Trudy Brady says Marasha Lindsay borrowed money for a car down payment and has not paid it back.
Now, Miss Brady says that she made a loan to you. The question to you is, you bought a car for $11,950. You had to put a certain amount down on the car in cash.
Yes.
How much was the down payment that had to be placed on the car?
$2,500.
How much money did you have?
$980.
Where did you get the rest of the money from?
Ms. Brady.
Your Honor, that's incorrect information.
I didn't ask you anything. How were you supposed to pay her back the $1,520?
In payments.
Starting when?
I got paid weekly, so as soon as I got paid again.
Okay. And you bought the car in mid-January?
Yes.
So you're supposed to start making your first payment to her a week later?
Yes.
Did you make it?
Yes.
How much was it?
I made payments in increments of $60.
$60 a week?
Yes, but it was also money taken out of my account that I have here. $309 and $206.
Taking out of your account was for the finance company.
No, it wasn't. It was for her. The finance company was a completely different company than the car dealership. But I have right here, it's exactly to that car dealership, not the finance company.
Well, this loan was not to the car dealership. This was a loan she made you personally for the down payment.
But that's how she collected the money, through the car dealership. The $980 as well as the $309 and the $206.
That's all incorrect. Everything she said is incorrect.
It doesn't make sense to me.
It's not going
I have it right here.
Well, I'd like to take a look at it, what you have.
I also have the correct paperwork right here. This is the loan agreement. Here.
Select Motor Cars. Is that where you work?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so what were these payments that were made to Select Motor Cars on February 16th of 2016, on January 19th of 2016, January 11th of 2016? Why in the world did she make a payment January 11th, 2016? She didn't even own the car then.
The correct bills, and I have the original receipts here. When she walks into my office to pay me, I'll write out a receipt right then because she's coming during when I'm at work. Her correct payments were on the 15th of January, February 13th, 26th of February, the 12th of March, the 27th of March, and the 29th of April.
I'd like to see
this is a summation.
You signed this document?
Yes.
And you signed that on the day that you purchased the car?
I'm not sure. I started signing
January
documents
15th.
Oh, yes.
She says that you made payments on the money that you owed her, and the only balance left was $1,030.
Your Honor, the balance keeps going up. The balance didn't go up until I totaled the car and found out that I had insurance, would be getting money back. That's when the balance started going up.
Just a second.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
That's as clear as any.
Pay back 10% in a month, that's not even legal. I would have never signed that had I known what I was signing. I signed a lot of paperwork that she gave a lot of different details to.
That's your mistake.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Trudy Brady says Marasha Lindsay borrowed money for a car down payment and has not paid it back.
Now, do you have proof to me that you paid her back the entire amount of this loan, which was $29.70?
No, Your Honor, I didn't get receipts.
Well, if she was going to make this up, Miss Lindsay, she would certainly, since you signed a document that you owed her $2,790, she could just as easily have said to me that you owed her $29.70. She didn't. She said the only balance left is $1,030. When did you total the car?
I totaled the car in April, Your Honor.
Well, that's when your last payment was.
Well, Your Honor, when I told her I had totaled the car, she said that was fine. The payments were fine.
Just a second. I don't care what you're saying she said. You owed her $1,030 at the time you totaled the car. Did you have insurance?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did the insurance company pay you for the car?
They covered the total cost of my car, yes, Your Honor.
They did? Well, if they covered the whole cost of your car, then I assume you replaced the car.
No, Your Honor.
Why not?
Because they only paid off the car. I didn't have any money left over.
Well, then that's why you didn't finish paying her off, because this was a personal loan. Had nothing to do with the car dealership.
Had me write up a check saying that the check was voided, that she needed that for tax write-off purposes, that it wasn't due for me to sign back, and I don't know. Like, I don't know much about. I signed a bunch of papers that I don't know much about.
Well,
and that was
pretty,
included in the papers.
pretty ridiculous to sign a lot of papers that you don't know anything about.
On my behalf. I take
but
that.
This is a very simple document. This is a very simple document. This says that she made a personal loan to you for the down payment. She made a loan to you so that you would have the money to put down on the car so that you could finance the rest. And you had insurance, so the insurance company paid off your car.
Well, Your Honor, that's not how it was told to me by Ms. Brady.
I don't care how it was told to you. You owe her $1,030, unless you can demonstrate to me that you paid her.
Your Honor, originally how it was told to me was what the finance company financed to me, that was part of my down payment. She told me to write a check that was voided, and that she would use that for tax purposes. And to pay whatever the finance company didn't give her.
Agreed to repay a personal loan of $2,700 with 10% interest rate, making a total to be repaid to the plaintiff of $29.70. That's plain English.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by.
Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on
14th, 2016. I understand that if I do not repay this loan in full by the above date, which you did not, by the way, because she allowed you to continue to make payments, you say the last payment was in April.
Correct.
Despite the fact that you were supposed to have it all paid off in February. I understand that if I do not pay off the debt by the above date, which is February, Miss Brady may sue me in small claims court and or garnish my wages. That's as clear as anything.
You know, if I myself had knowledge of that, I would have never signed that. 10%, pay back 10% in a month, that's not even legal. I would have never signed that had I known what I was signing. I signed a lot of paperwork that she gave a lot of different details to.
That's your mistake.
I'll take that negligence, but
no,
I would have never signed 10%.
But you
10%
did.
on a 1-month loan?
Well, it turned out to be not 10% on a 1-month loan. Right now, that amount is on a 7-month loan that you still haven't repaid.
Because I was taken advantage of.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,030. We're done.
Thank you, Judge Judy.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
Some get clever.
It's the story. I'm sticking to it.
Liar, liar, pants on fire.
Others get hostile.
I'm going to tell you what happened.
Judge Judy gets the last word.
They don't keep me here because I'm gorgeous. They keep me here because I'm smart.
Pleased with the judge's decision. It's a legitimate, wonderful company that I work with.
I would have never signed a 10% loan over a month loan. Like, that's crazy, 10% interest. I don't even think that's legal.
She was a type of person that tried to hustle me, contacted me, desperate to buy a vehicle.
Because I was desperate for a car, and
she knew what she was signing, the agreement. Nobody else would loan her the money.
What she was saying didn't match the paperwork, so of course.
I believe since she was out of the in the military, had honor.
I have a newborn child and I have a job. I need a car, so I took it.
And had a small child, was a single mother. I was trying to help someone.
It's very shady. It's very shady.
You can't trust everybody.